Hello, hello? Uh-oh. Shit. We died. We died, boys. Hold on. Uh-oh. Dream died, Enlaa cried. Guys, this is so sad. Hello, hello. Sorry about that. That was entirely my fault. I went to press the, I went to press a button in my Streamlabs, and I accidentally pressed the end stream button. I'm sorry, when I see a big red button, I gotta press it. I just, pure autopilot, I wasn't thinking. That was my bad. Alright, we'll get back to this, we'll get back to this, this call. Did you click the X? No, I just clicked the big red end stream button at the bottom. And on the same day, the stream rose from the grave. Yeah, it didn't even take me 3 days. I'm back, bitches. Actually, while we're getting back into the swing of things, I'm gonna go and grab a small snack. Be right back. No one show Enlaa the history eraser button? Talking about. Okay, you're back. I have, like, diced pickles. Or not diced, but, like, sliced pickles. They're not really that good, though. Like, this particular batch, like, you can still... They're not, like, fully pickled, if you know what I mean. Like, you can still taste the cucumber. Yeah, it died, sorry. And it should be fine now, right? Dude, I love pickles so much, too. Alright. You ready to get back into this? Ready? You ready? Good afternoon. Hello. Yeah, sorry, sorry the stream died. I apologize.
No, I have messages from behind the scenes where he's trying to suggest he still cares about them.
I haven't
For
seen
those
them
months.
personally.
They've been out publicly. I've leaked them.
I mean, I haven't seen them personally, but
Yeah, no, this is just stupid on Zach's part. Anytime he's confronted with contradictory information from what he's saying, he just goes, "Oh, I wouldn't know about that," or "I have not seen that," or "I don't know." So it's like, you came into this not knowing anything, Zach. You set yourself up for failure.
like the thing is, the reason I'm saying all this is because the version of the Jay and Jordan script that existed that Lio and I wrote that also is not going to be used now because of everything that happened in the Senate. That version looks.
Sorry, I want more cheese. Hold on. I'm sorry, it's those post-coffee cravings that are kicking in. I need more protein. Ever since I got my surgery, my mom's been studying up super hard on like nutrition, so we're always trying new stuff. Like right now, I'm adding flax seeds to my smoothies. Thankfully, you don't really notice the difference because it's a lot like strawberry seeds already. Oh, there goes the chat. I heard cheese. The cheese tax. You gotta pay the cheese tax. Zach shouldn't even be involved. I still don't understand why he put himself in such a weird position. Yeah, I think it's just pure stupidity. And that's why I don't really care so much about them specifically. I care about the fact that Zach is just hard defending Leo because I'm interested to see where that's gonna be in 1 to 2 months from now. My prediction, and I'm willing to put bets on this, it'll be like at most 2 months before Zach drops him. I think Zach is gonna drop Leo within the next 2 months. I can bet on that. I don't know who's gonna take me up on that bet, but that's my opinion.
Nothing like the version you have all seen. There is none of.
Hang on, let's back up a little bit. Sorry.
I haven't
For
seen
those
them
months.
personally.
They've been
Like-
out publicly. I've leaked them.
I mean, I haven't seen them personally, but like the thing is, the reason I'm saying all this is because the version of the Jay and Jordan script that existed that Lio and I wrote that also is not going to be used now because of everything that happened in the Senate. That version looks nothing like the version you have all seen.
Doesn't matter. That was the initial, like, that was his initial thought process. And it is telling of his character, no matter what you say, Zach.
There is next to none of the language used in that. It is very heavy on
So what? So what if it's not the same language?
clips, screenshots, evidence, everything possible to prove this with a loss of ad hominem, without use of vitriolic tone. And these are all things that I expressed with Lio in the initial writing process. It's just like, especially if you're like talking about situations that are very emotionally driven.
How much
need to
did
make
you
sure-
help him with that script?
I did not write it for him. I mainly helped him with tone specifically. I helped him out with tone, making sure, like, if I read a claim, being like, okay, hey, this needs this, or this needs this. This needs a screen cap, this needs a clip, this needs proof for what you're saying, or it means nothing. That is
So-
the basis of what I did. I
Okay.
didn't write any of it for him.
That's not, well, he wasn't asking you if you wrote it for him. He was just asking you if you helped with the script, Zach.
Okay, and I'm trying to be as charitable as humanly possible here, but what I'm getting from this is that you think it was reasonable for him to not only after the first time he had already said all this, because the script wasn't the first time he'd said this, because he came into the Senate server for an hour straight.
Yeah, Lamau, Zach saying he hasn't been doing any actual research is the funniest self-report ever. Mm-hmm.
And was saying all these things verbatim and was being like showing his true colors on display. And then you get to see the script that you disavow, and you're saying that his initial reaction is justified. Okay, we're not gonna.
Sorry, what are you guys saying? Hold on. The cheese tag. Dropping in and out on Becca's stream was funny, by the way. Yeah, I didn't want to do it too often because then it would just defeat the purpose of it being funny. It would stop being funny. Like, you can do it like a maximum of 3 times before it stops being funny.
address that yet. You said it was like understandable. It was justified that that was his first reaction.
No. I said his feelings were understandable, not the way he handled that.
The way he
I said
handled
that
it. His
the-
feelings were his script. We're talking about his little personal diary that got rewritten for optics, right?
No, I'm talking about the fact that the feelings of having someone who you previously cared about, that like you helped a lot for multiple years, come out with allegations that you feel are completely unfounded. Responding with sadness and anger is absolutely a reaction that would be understandable.
He wasn't
The way it was
responding with sadness. It was just pure vitriol, and it was twice in a row.
Yeah, there wasn't much sadness in that script. It was mostly what's it called? It came off as narc rage, if I'm being honest.
For you
I
guys to
did
see
say
in private.
anger after that.
Yes, you did say anger, but like, sad, why is he sad? He's very clearly just like malding.
I mean,
Very vicious, like not vicious, but like very nasty and mean about it. Well, whilst those two never made any personal attacks at Lio, and might I add, the
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. Nice but not kind, and kind but not nice exist for a reason. I agree completely.
things that I didn't include, they were overly fucking charitable to Lio to the point that it became redundant.
yeah. So about like the personal attacks on Lio, Jay going at Lio's hygiene, which he
That wasn't a
again-
personal attack.
I mean, that does read as
Oh, this part is funny. I have to slow this down. This part I can never get over this part.
Jay going at Lio's
Yeah, them being like, Lio smells like shit. This whole argument is just fucking hilarious.
hygiene, which he
That wasn't a
attempted-
personal attack.
I mean, that does read as one.
If he stinks like shit, then he has reason to be offended. But if it don't apply, let it fly. It's not like she came at him like, oh yeah, he's a stinky fucking man-child. Like, no, she just said that he had bad hygiene and then went on to explain, like, detail his bad hygiene because I had asked her about that. It's not a personal attack. If it doesn't reflect well on Lio, then he can just stay mad about that. But that's
Here's the thing. I mean, when it comes to that, it does come down to subjective personal opinion whether or not it's perceived as a personal attack or not. The thing is, the fact that he takes such offense to it is a little bit telling. Like Kumo says, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Like, if someone told me, well, I'm trying to think of like a good like comparable example. Like, if someone said that I was, like, starving my cat without any proof of that and was just saying it, and I instantly got defensive about it and was, like, immediately trying to, like, prove that, like, no, I don't starve my cat. I feed my cat all the time, and actually, you starve your cat, so you're no better. Like, that would lead people to believe that, do you starve your cat? I know it's probably a bad example, but, like, the defensiveness about it is what makes it more believable. If it don't apply, let it fly. You know, I would just roll my eyes at something like that, because it's like, I know I don't starve my cat, so there's no reason to take that accusation seriously.
that's not a personal attack.
I mean,
It
the argument of whether or not it's a personal attack feels kind of redundant. I mean, or not redundant, it feels sort of unnecessary, although I know why Kumo is trying to argue against it being a personal attack, but whatever.
very much reads as one, though. Like,
If he smells like shit, then I could understand why he might feel
So, Kato, if you're still listening, that's the part of it
one, though. Like
at like 31:28 or whatever. Like this part here.
if he smells like shit,
Like that. Like, I just need a voice clip of that. It's like, it's so like
then I could understand why he might feel attacked, but it doesn't read as one. I asked her and she elaborated in detail as I asked her.
okay. So my thing is, I still
oh, boo fucking who, he'll spend 4 hours tearing into Rosa, but one hygiene comment dig, and he's throwing a fucking tantrum.
would read that as an attack on someone's character rather than on their actions.
Thank you,
It wasn't
Kato.
attacking his character. The whole it wasn't the let's criticize Lio interview. It's me asking about the experiences and asking like follow-ups on more detail.
Again, like, knowing what I know about Lio's end with Jay, like,
What they don't understand is that people are allowed to talk about their personal experiences with somebody. And you don't always have to provide evidence. If you want people to believe you without question, you need to provide evidence. But if you just want to talk about your personal experiences with somebody and how that affected you, personally, you're allowed to do that online. Like, Jay and Jordan are allowed to come on to Kumo's stream and talk about their experiences with Leo, even without evidence. They just can't demand that people just believe them without evidence. Right? They have to acknowledge that people might not believe them. Right? And Leo can do the exact same thing. The problem is that Leo, on his side, is expecting and demanding that people just believe him, without him having to show any evidence for his side, at least not yet. I know that he does say that, like, knowing what I know, considering it was a shock to Zach that Peaches was abusive, I'm gonna assume he doesn't actually know much. Yeah, it's like, yeah. He keeps teasing that too. I know you guys have mentioned it a couple of times in chat, but he keeps, like, it's almost like he's teasing it, like, oh, well, if you knew what I knew, it's like, okay, what do you know? Because every time he tries to show, like, oh no, I know what I'm talking about, he's very clearly shown that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He'll try to assert something he knows about and is swiftly corrected on that, and then he just goes, oh, well, I don't know about that. But if you knew what I knew. it's like, you don't have much right now, do you? You don't have much right now. That's why you're saying it like this.
Again, there's things in there that can be disproved, so it does read to me like watching Jay's interview back.
Have you smelled Lio?
That's another thing. It's like, he's trying to assert that this personal attack can be disproven, but no, it can't. Because they're not saying... when they say that Leo did not have good hygiene, or does not have good hygiene, what they're saying is that while they were living there, they're saying that Leo smelled like shit. Right? And it might not be true anymore. Maybe he does take showers every day now. Right? Maybe he does smell better now. Maybe his house is cleaner now. But that possibly wasn't the case back then. And so, people being like, well, if he doesn't smell bad anymore, or like, even if he has smelled Leo in the present, that does not mean that their accusations from back then are automatically false. But anyway, that's just nitpicking. But I like that. Have you smelled Leo? Have you smelled him?
No, we live in different states.
Then what does that have to do with the current talking point we're on?
Because I
You're
said
saying
that
things
it was
that
an
can be
attack on his
disproven.
character.
You're saying things that can be disproven about that Jay said, and you won't get into the specifics, and I don't really care to pry into the specifics, but you're alluding to these text messages and testimonies that are just going to completely vindicate fucking Lio Convoy, when a lot of what I can tell people are really upset about are things that could not be proven outside of hearsay or he.
Yeah, like, you could not, like, prove these things. Like, a lot of the things that Jordan and Jay talked about in their testimonies is stuff that you can't physically disprove unless you actually lived with him during those times, or even just lived with him at all. Because, again, I feel the need to point this out. There is a consistent pattern of people who have actually lived a substantial amount of time in Leo's home, walking away from that experience, not wanting anything more to do with him. There is a pattern there. A pattern that needs to be recognized.
He said, she said.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying that me saying there is evidence and not showing it because it's not evidence I have on hand.
No, it's absolutely not what he's saying. I don't know how Zach even got to that conclusion. He's trying to say, oh, well, because I don't have it with me here, you're saying that I don't have evidence. It's like, no, we're trying to say that testimony is not evidence unless it can corroborate existing evidence. God. Yeah, does he live stream himself showering to him in a VC to prove that he's washing himself? I want to see how many cats he actually has. Me too.
No, that's not what I said.
This is just how I'm reading it. So.
And also, why don't you have evidence on hand, Zach? You decided to come into this call, like, for what reason? What did you think you were going to prove by coming into this call? I know this was just, like, an informal, casual discussion, more or less. But, like, you would think that if you have this opportunity to talk to one of your main detractors or one of your main critics, you would come with some kind of evidence, even if it's lesser evidence. You would come with some kind of screenshot or some kind of text message or some kind of testimony that you could physically show. Have a good stream? All right. You'd think you would come with something, but he comes with nothing. So for all they know right now, you're making it up. And none of us are just going to take your word for things, Zach. I don't know what you thought coming in here just saying, oh, we have evidence, is going to say, because you're saying nothing. Essentially, put up or shut up. Is that what it is? Is that what the saying is? I hope so. And that's what everyone is telling Zach to do right now. Either start showing the evidence, or shut up and just work on the damn video instead of flutzing around like this.
Like, you're saying that I'm alluding to things without showing them, which makes this a harder case, basically.
It's not that you're not showing them. I'm actually just really just challenging the idea, the premise in the first place. I can be patient and wait. I'm not gonna like hold my breath on a like response even coming out, because
Yeah, at this point, it's very difficult. Like, I mean, this gives me more confidence to think that. I mean, like, okay, here's where my stance on this is right now. I'm like 85% sure that Leo's never gonna make a response video. There is not gonna be some multi-hour long debunking video that he's gonna make responding to all of the allegations and quote unquote grinding every single one of his detractors into the dust. I still don't think there's gonna be a video like that, because every time something like this happens where it gets teased that like, oh yeah, he's making a video, he's working on a video, then shit comes out that invalidates key parts of his strategies for his video, and then it gets put back again. Or they find some other drama to distract themselves with, and it gets put off. There is no video. I'm sorry, Zach, there is no video. There may be some kind of like script, or a draft of a script, or some kind of like outline for a script, but there's going to be no video. I am almost 100% confident on that. Almost. But you have to prove me wrong by making the fucking video.
I've already have my opinions reserved about it. But I'm more so challenging the premise of this, that you're saying that what you've seen is text messages, and apparently you've heard the testimony, correct?
I've heard testimony and I've seen messages, yes.
Okay. And now I'm asking you, because from what a lot of the stuff that I even asked about was very personal, that like would have happened behind closed doors, and that's a lot of what people are very mad about. So how can you then tell me that you're on Lyo's side, you're in his corner about this because you've seen what he's had to show you, and then you're telling me that testimony is not solid or concrete evidence, and then you're also that. You said it's not good evidence.
I said it's a weaker point of evidence, but it is still evidence to some capacity.
It's not. I'm not saying it's not evidence at all. I'm saying it's not good evidence.
Testimony alone is not evidence. I'm of that opinion. But that's unrelated. It doesn't matter what I think right now.
Weaker, not
about that.
Good. We can play the semantics, but it's not good evidence.
So by that logic, why would you have Jay give an hour-long interview with no evidence attached to it?
To share her side of the story? The platform.
Yeah, it's just sharing their experience. It doesn't have to have... If you want to talk about something online, about somebody, you don't have to have evidence. That's the thing. Unless it's like legally... It can be legally defined as slander. Unless it can be legally defined as slander, you don't need evidence to talk about something or to make an assertion about somebody. That's the thing. But if you're gonna make assertions about somebody, or an event that happened or something, and then want to be like 100% believed without question, then you need evidence, right? But if you're just wanting to get your version of events out there, or your story, or your experience, you don't need evidence. Just like how Leo doesn't need evidence when he's sitting in those calls complaining about Jay and Jordan and Opal. Doesn't need evidence. But if he wants to be believed without question by people outside of his little cyber cult, then yes, he needs evidence.
Inform her?
Which is understandable, yeah.
I'm not making claims against Lyo regarding Jay's testimony.
But Jay absolutely is, with no...
Where?
In the entire interview.
The entire interview is Jay answering questions.
Yeah, that's how an interview works.
Yes, but Jay isn't making like attacks on Lyo. That's not what the interview was. It was asking about their experience.
Okay, so...
It's crazy how he can pull an all-nighter to beat someone to the punch, but with this, it's just weeks of nothing. Guys, he's such a busy guy. He's so busy, and he's just so inundated with work all the time that he needs a secretary, a twink secretary, no less. And he's just so busy, and he needs a full team of people to work through the FCK logs. That's why he never got around to it. Yeah, bullshit. It took Akumu and I like a couple of days to get through the FCK logs. Yeah, we missed some shit here and there, definitely. There's some things that we missed that I should have looked into. But we got the evidence that we needed within a couple of days. You got no excuse.
To answer like the question, because I did have a question about like how that Jay interview even came to be. Did Jay come to you, or
Yes.
did you come?
Jay came to me.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. That was a big question I had in regards to that.
What does that have to do with anything? Why would that matter?
The reason why I feel it would matter is why would you directly go to somebody who is very opposed to the person that you had experience with, then say an hour of things with no evidence attached to it aside
It's
from
actually longer than an
testimony?
hour. It's actually a lot longer than an hour. You just saw the cut version.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So what we were shown was an hour.
Why? Yes, you were shown an hour, and you're asking why go to someone who is critical and doesn't like Lio to give testimony in an
Yeah.
interview
I'm asking like why would they go to you like specific? I guess if that makes sense.
specifically?
Yeah.
Because Jordan had already come to me,
Okay.
and they want to support Jordan. That was the entire like premise. That was the only reason they even came to like speak to me, is because they wanted to support Jordan with their story too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Kumo answers that later on in this call already, but you're right, Shade. Like, it is because they are more willing to listen. Like, do you think if Jay or Jordan went to a Senate member, went to, let's say they went to Doodle Tones to talk about this, they went to Doodle Tones, or Nezzy Monster, or even Ponder. Can you imagine if they went to Ponder and said these things, like, Leo was abusive to me, and I want to get my story out there? Do you think they would have? Do you think they would have given a fuck? Do you think they would have given a shit? No. Ponder's whole thing, it's understandable for Ponder at the very least, because her thing has always been evidence or I don't care, which is fair. But Doodle Tones, you don't think? No, like, she would not take that seriously. Nezzy Monster wouldn't take it seriously. They'd all dismiss it. In fact, they'd probably even try to target them and get them into Senate calls to badger them about making false, slanderous accusations against their big daddy Lio. Yeah, that's why I'm saying Ponder wouldn't have helped anyway. Because if there's no evidence, she doesn't really care. Which is fair, again. But yeah, for other people, like, no. You think if they had gone to Ephraim, do you think he would have cared? Do you think he would have given them the time of day? That's gonna be Kumo's point, so I'll just let him speak.
They wanted to at least corroborate what they could of Jordan's, like, what the initial interview. I don't even feel like would feel right uploading anymore. They wanted to have something to at least try and corroborate what Jordan said, because they knew, and they said predictably that all that was going to be met in response was a shit ton of people saying, "No, you're wrong. I was there," and there would be no battle but hearsay. Why is it relevant as to why, or why does it matter as to why they would come and like speak to me?
The reason that I asked was just because of the fact that while they did have, like, albeit smaller platforms, they did have their own platforms as well. So, like,
no, they didn't. Having a YouTube channel with like 20 subs is not having a platform, Zach.
It was just more so confusion as like why they went to another source about it, if that makes sense. Like, not as an attack on you, but more so just wondering what the process was of getting.
Why would they?
Why does anyone go to a news channel to get their story out there or to be interviewed, Zach? If you can just have a Facebook account and tell it to the world yourself, why does anyone need to go and be interviewed for anything? And ultimately, this doesn't matter. What Zach is trying to do is, like, lead into some kind of conspiracy. Like, trying to lead into this idea that Kumo, in some way, coerced, or not coerced, but, like, convinced them to, like, come to him about this. Or that there's some, like, underlying, like, malicious intention behind them going to Kumo specifically because he's, like, their biggest detractor. But, like, even if you still have to disprove the accusations. You can't just say, again, this is the same thing with Akumu. It's like, you can't just say, oh, they're platforming this or they're bringing awareness to this for bad reasons. Doesn't matter. The fact it's still being brought to people's attention, especially if it's true, the underlying intentions behind the whistleblower doesn't fucking matter if the thing that they're calling out is 100% true. The intention doesn't matter.
Why would they come to someone who's critical of Lio and Peaches to platform their side of the story, and interview them rather than responding on their own smaller platforms?
Yeah, more so like why would they respond like using your platform rather than just their own? If that,
Because it would be instantly dismissed. And honestly, it was almost instantly dismissed when it was brought to Kumo. It was almost instantly forgotten about and dismissed. Like, it was teased for a while, like for like a month or two beforehand, but then it wasn't really talked about until Kumo's J interview dropped, like fully. And even then, people were still like, oh, ignore this. It means nothing. Zach is neutral, remember? He totally isn't one on Leo's side and not trying to find any way out of this mess. But the thing is that Zach will simultaneously say, oh, I'm still waiting to hear Leo's side. I'm still waiting to hear Leo's side, and also I've heard his side, and that's why I believe him. Like, it can't be both, Zach. Can't be both.
that makes sense. Like it's not meant to be like.
Are they content creators?
I haven't looked into like their content history that.
Oh my god, Zach. I haven't looked into their content. I don't know if they have a platform. I don't know if they have a substantial platform, but I don't understand why they didn't do it on their own substantial platform. Fucking Zach, it's so easy.
It's rhetorical. They're artists. You can tell just by Jordan's uploaded response that Jordan doesn't know what they're doing in terms of content creation. They're both
Oof.
artists. It was
Okay.
rhetorical.
Okay, got it.
Naturally, like not only
Okay,
am I,
got
am I
it.
a
He
negative
doesn't
critic
get
of
it.
Lio by this
He
point,
did
but,
not
like,
get it.
I'm clearly a content creator who's interviewed people in the past and got their story and like platformed that.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I'm a negative critic of Lio, so I'm probably going to be more receptive to this very personal shit that they want to come tell me.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes more sense. Like now that you explained it a little bit more.
I
I'm just
highly doubt
spitballing.
it.
Like I don't think it immediately has to be like some conspiracy. I think these are very general, like tick the boxes until it fits. You know.
Yeah, like obviously, because I haven't had experience where one of my friends like did have like these things thrown at them. So it was more so just me like trying to understand like what the thought process was on that. Like it's not meant to like go.
I
You
can't
or go
speak for
them.
them, but if I had to give you any guesses, like it'd probably be something along those lines. If I'm thinking logically.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, would you
Yeah.
go to some random person, especially like, yes, I'm a negative critic of Lio. I think something that might attribute to that is I might be more willing to hear them out if they want to tell me about their negative experiences.
Yeah. Okay. That yeah. I
Not
see
necessarily
Yeah,
because like,
okay,
they know
that
I'm going
makes
to run with it, but
sense.
just because I'm more likely to hear them out.
No,
You
it
go-
do-
if-
y-
say
you're
they,
not
like, go to some
understanding
random,
this
like,
at all,
fucking Lanza
Zach.
who doesn't know anything about this, doesn't have any gripe with Lio,
Hey,
doesn't really
Kumo.
know any of the context to any of this. They just go to Lanza. Do you think Lanza's going to be receptive? Because they did make the point, although I told him it was a very weak point. Jordan said that like they could have gone to anyone with a larger platform.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Like, I
okay.
could-
That makes sense.
I could see that point as well.
I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I get it. That's just Zach saying, okay, whatever. I don't care to hear your side. Because like he doesn't get it. He very clearly doesn't get it. And he continues to not get it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That definitely makes more sense. I guess.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
And just pay attention to all of the qualifying statements that Zach uses as well. Like, to my knowledge, from my understanding, from what I know, I think, I guess, like, just like really, really wish-washy language.
If I had to pick your brain, what is like your biggest issue with the Jay interview?
My
What's
biggest
one
issue
thing
is
you
just the
don't like
fact that
most about it. Which part,
my
I mean?
big thing is just like the lack of screenshots or anything that we could visibly look at out.
Like Leo did in the February 28th and 29th call, how he showed absolutely fucking nothing to anyone, and yet the entire Senate was expected to believe him. And a lot of people did just take everything he said at face value, but you don't have a problem with that. You never were outspoken about your issues with that, or those calls that, at least for one of them, you were definitely in it.
Outside of testimony.
Well,
Because
yeah,
while
it's just testimony though. You don't have to like or agree with the testimony. It's just testimony on record that they said this. That
yeah,
they said this happened.
yeah, I get that. It's
If anything,
more
if,
so
No,
anything,
yeah.
if
all
anything,
out-
the interview was designed in a way that Lio could use that testimony to further corroborate his own story if he wanted to.
like his story with Peaches or
His story with them, he could use their words against them if he so chose to. That's how it was like formatted. It's just their story.
Yeah, it's informational. That's actually how I planned for my interview with Vlad to be. Just purely informational. Like, anybody could reference back to it if they needed to, whether to prove or disprove anything that Vlad had said in it. It was always meant to be just informational. And that's what Kumo did for his as well.
And in fact, I've been very particular
Very non-committal, yeah.
about not using this like interpersonal family drama in my big video on Lio.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
No, it
But, like, in
doesn't.
regards-
It does. You're not seeing the sense in it. Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds like Zach says that when he's ready to pivot to something else or pivot to his own rebuttal of what was just said. So no, it actually didn't make sense to him. I wish they actually were receptive rather than this obnoxious dodging and PR speak. They want so badly for us to fold to them and let them win. They have no intentions of trying to understand. Exactly. And like we have said before, Kumo, like, yeah, them being like, oh no, I understand. I get it. Like, it comes off as very dismissive because they continue to not understand.
to the use of family like drama and stuff, why would I guess like where I'm caught up there is just like why would you use a lot of clips from like Jordan's interview
Hang
in
on.
your first
Let me just play this from Kato real quick.
If he stinks like shit.
You still have the wrong one, Kato!
If he stinks like shit.
There's a different one where he says if he smells like shit. I guarantee. Hold on. What are we at? 4204? Okay, hold on.
Then he can just say he smells like shit.
I'm talking about this one. I'm talking about this one, Kato. Kato?
It very much reads as one though. Like
if he smells like shit, then I could
that one, Kato. Get it right, Kato. Get it right.
The home. I actually didn't even heard the assault, and then they're all to say in the video, and it was never like driven home as a point or even like framed as a point. It was just an opinion in passing. Like nobody, maybe other people might be trying to say that.
Sorry.
I only show clips talking about how Lio and
Well, here they're arguing about like Kumo asserts that he was not using their interpersonal drama in terms of their experiences in Leo's home in his video against Leo Convoy. And Zach refutes this by asking, okay, then why did you use sections of their interview in your video? And Kumo states that he only used parts that were like contradictory to assertions that Leo was making about his predator hunting career, quote unquote, or Joshua Vita, if I recall correctly, or his him gloating about how he helped Jordan with his predator situation or his molestation situation. But that had nothing to do with their home situation. That had nothing to do with Jordan's experience living with Leo. That's the whole point.
Lio, Lago, Vita, Anthroponi, whatever. With
and Zach is making this assertion without having even watched the majority of Kumo's video. Because Zach says at some point, like, oh yeah, I've only seen like 20 minutes of it.
The molestation in the home. I actually didn't even. I could have driven this home and like been extremely uncharitable, but I could have used the clip where Vita goes on to suggest that Jordan record the assault, and then they all proceed to laugh about that. That's something I also feel gets overlooked, that they all were laughing and giggling and making jokes about this perceived victim to be like recording their assault happening rather than trying to get out on their own. Because guys, wholeheartedly, something that could have happened is they could have ran to the police station. Anyway,
correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't Jordan actually do that?
No, Jordan, actually the exact opposite. That's the thing, is his explanation for that clip gets completely contradicted because in Jordan's testimony,
and Zach just further proving that he does not know the facts of the situation that happened. Wait, what about me? Wait, what? Were you mentioned?
Cops, like there were cops involved. They did tell their mom. Their mom got the guy out, and the guy only came back in to collect his shit.
Okay.
And the only thing from that interview in terms of like the stuff.
Like he's not receptive to this at all. Like you can tell he's like in one ear and out the other with this guy.
Was how Lio goes on to frame it afterwards in terms of like using it to bolster his own credibility. So how he sort of says that
he was briefly name dropped. Oh, I might not have caught on to that.
How he sort of says that their mom didn't do anything.
Should I go back?
And even let the guy back into the home. Jordan. I showed that to Jordan. They were like, no, what the fuck?
And almost at 1K. I'm like still like 300 away from 1K. I'm a bit far from it still, but thank you.
And I even like another thing, the fucking GoFundMe. I had to point out that it was literally the fault of the vigilantism that Lio was like contributing to, because Jordan was 16. They could not have made a GoFundMe. You legally cannot, like, not even legally, GoFundMe will not let you make a GoFundMe if you're underage. And then it is then explained to me that I think it was Anthropony who initially made it, and then it was passed on to Vita, who then passed it on to Lio. And so in reality, that GoFundMe was not under the control of Jordan. And so that was sort of the entire point. Like, there might be some mentions in passing, because that's just the nature of the interview I did with Jordan. There might be some mentions in passing about like how they got adopted and whatnot, but that was more so just to the point that like Lio has gone on to like suggest that he's protecting this person by moving them in his house. That was really the only thing. And the entire point of that was to not say, "Oh, family drama time." It was more so like, "No, that's not true. That's not why you did this."
Okay.
Also, it was a point about the predator hunting thing.
In regards to the predator hunting part of your video, you do know that Lio disavowed predator hunting as recently as December of 2023, right?
Which he's objectively wrong about. I wish I had the timestamp. And I've said this in other places before. Like, I think I've said this with Kumo and on Beckett's stream, I think. But him being like... But also, even if that was true, it doesn't matter. But I'll get to that in a second. One, no, he fucking hasn't. He's being very, like, on the fence about that, actually. Because if that was true, and he's basically taken off the badge and gone into pedo hunting retirement, then why would he go into the February 28th call? I really wish I had timestamps for this. Maybe Akumu does, I don't know. But why would he be talking about the allegations like against him from Jordan J and Akumu and Kumo, like in that February 28th call, acting like these malicious lies were quote-unquote disrupting support systems and making it so victims will be further victimized because they won't come to him for aid and support and help anymore. If that wasn't what he was still planning on doing, why would he frame it like them making up malicious lies was an injustice to victims everywhere? Why would he frame it like that if he was no longer planning on doing predator hunting? And second of all, even if what Zach was saying was true here, with Zach being like, well, he doesn't do it anymore, it was still bad. It was still bad. He still did a shitty job when he was doing it. And that's worth calling out. Because he's a fucking idiot. It doesn't matter if he's quote-unquote not doing it anymore. He can still be criticized for it. People don't have to just magically forget that he ever even did that. Because he definitely caused more harm than good. In the grand scheme of things. But yeah, that point also was just ridiculously stupid. He was in that call, too. Zach, you were in that call when he was saying that shit, so you know this isn't true. What are you talking about?
What relevance does that have to my points?
To the point that your video was condemning the fact that Lio was a pred hunter at large. And
at large?
Pred hunter at large? 2020. I'm saying, like, condemning the practice of predator hunting at large, using Lio as an example in your video. And then...
Because he is an example of bad predator hunting. It doesn't matter if he doesn't do it anymore, if he still did it. Damage that Leo never apologized for, and continues to lie about. Even if he did step down, wouldn't he announce it in the server or in a video? Wouldn't there be people able to corroborate that stepping down? That's the thing, is like he's never made that official in a video. You'd think he would do that there. Apparently it was a rule not even in the Senate, I think, right? Because I recall that screenshot of like some of the rules where Leo may not be doing, it didn't say definitively, the rule didn't say definitively that Leo is not doing predator hunting anymore. It said he may not be doing predator hunting anymore. And even then, I think that was in Queen Seraphina's server, not in the Senate. I think, if I remember correctly. Corroborate. I hate that word because Android refuses to acknowledge it as a word. It keeps auto-correcting it to collaborate or cooperate. He is making a video on the FCK. How is he still not predator hunting? Exactly. This is just another cope. It's another cop-out that falls flat on its face if you give it like 5 seconds of thought.
And the problem is that Lio dropped it in...
I thought I caught on to more shit, but seeing everyone react and analyze it, I can see why they were so mad about Kato uploading this call. Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. They completely fucked themselves over with this. Like, if Zack doesn't drop Leo, I can imagine Leo dropping Zack. I know it's hard to catch on to this shit when you're in the middle of it, though, so I don't blame you.
In 2023.
Did he actually?
Yeah, it's even stated in the Senate rules.
Well, I mean, what about his other activities, like the stuff on Twitter where he and Peaches were like going after people still?
Was that predator?
And I've also
hunting?
actually there have been clips of him alluding to getting back into it, the same way Peaches
Yep.
left that little wiggle room in her initial video where she said she was going to quit, but if she
Disrupting support system? We need that as a quote, too. We need that as a soundboard. He's disrupting support systems?
needs to, she'll
Oh yeah, without question, they're malicious.
come back to doing it.
That's... When was this?
What?
When was
What?
this?
When was this? It was February 28th! The call that you were in, Zach!
As in, I don't recall it.
We're talking
offhand,
about as
like-
early. We're talking about like
Where's a link to the call? It's... Shit. Let me get it for you. Hang on a second. Oh my god, how do you spell again? Here. I'll just toss this into the chat. Oh, whoops. Wrong one. My bad. This one. There you go. I'll do what all the big YouTubers do and spam it like multiple times. There, is that enough for you fuckers? I hope you're happy. Enlaa! Is that enough for you?
the very beginning.
What are we talking about? I'll back up a little bit. Half the Senate seems to think I don't remember is just a magic pass for everything they don't want to talk about. Yeah, but then they'll never accept that excuse from anybody else. Not even from someone who literally has brain damage and epileptic seizures. It's crazy. The one says you like... Oh,
Where he
or, oh, you guys are
Peaches-
talking about something else. Sorry.
After people still.
Still,
Was
that's
that-
the February 28th call that I just linked in chat.
Predator
And I've also
hunting?
actually there have been clips of him alluding to getting back into it, the same way Peaches left that little wiggle room in her initial video
So,
where she
I don't know anything about that, so I have no opinion on that.
said she was going to quit, but if she needs to, she'll come back to doing it.
Yep.
That's... When was this?
What do you mean? When was this?
As in, I don't recall it.
We're talking
offhand,
about as
like-
early. We're talking about like the very beginning of 2024. You're alluding to like the very ass end of 2023, as if it's so far away, but we're only like a few months past that. We're like,
yeah,
Why were they, if they weren't doing predator hunting anymore, why were they trying to involve themselves in the Miles thing on Twitter? I mean, I know Kumo says that
I
later,
definitely get
but
that. I'm more so saying, like, your video that came out in March is predicated off of something that Lio disavowed months prior.
who cares? It's still relevant because that's what he did.
months prior.
Yes,
Okay. Do you know how long
Doesn't
the video
matter.
had been in the works?
that I do not know, but as far as I'm aware,
Don't know.
Commentary
as far as I'm
dementia.
aware, it was February of 2024.
Oh my god, he doesn't do it anymore, so it doesn't count. What is this point, Zach?
No. I've been working on that video ever since I dropped my Peaches video, and that was
Yep.
why Lio had problems with me. Is because he knew that after I went after Peaches, I was going to criticize him next. That video had been in the works since like midway through 2023. And
Yeah.
just because he disavowed it whilst the video was in production also doesn't mean that the whole like what was it, the Miles situation, wasn't that also in the same fucking span of time?
Which situation?
Yep.
The Miles situation where they were like trying to attack a bunch of
The Miles situation, if I recall correctly, and I can fact check this as well. The Miles situation was 3 months ago. And what date specifically was that? That was... Oh, that was actually in December. Why did I think it was in January? That's weird. I could have sworn that was in January. Oh, shit. No, I gave inaccurate information. No. I could have sworn that was in January. Well, yeah, it's still odd though, like that he would be trying to involve himself in predator hunting stuff while actively, like, apparently disavowing predator hunting. It's just weird. Watch Leo go from it was 4 years ago with Peaches too, but it was 4 months ago for himself.
Of like kids who were making allegations on Twitter, and then they walked it back, and Peaches like was like, maybe I should just kill myself. That one.
Yeah.
Did that happen before or after Lio disavowed predator hunting?
That I do not know. And
I guess you could say it happened during he was disavowing predator hunting. Cause like that post in the I could be completely wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that post, just from memory, from photographic memory, I'm pretty sure that that post in Seraphina's Discord server about like Leo may not be doing predator hunting anymore. I believe that was like around December, like after the 20th of December, sometime around that. So it must have been like a few days after the Miles stuff on Twitter. But it was still around the same time. So it is like adjacent, you could say.
also, I'm pretty sure that was Peaches, and I think
Lio was also involved.
And also, that's another good point, Shade. If this was so important that he had to get this out there, why is he extending Miku month? Why?
Lio was involved, yes.
And he also
but what
told everyone that
hang
he
on.
was to blame for that.
He did say
See,
that.
that I do not recall.
Of
What I
course
do
you
How
remember
he
don't.
came
is
into
that
the
he
Discord
did-
server and was asking for people's personal information.
Literally, no, I don't recall this immediately offhand. But when it comes to the stuff I do remember seeing on Twitter about that situation, I do remember Lio saying, hey, we're not making a video on this or anything. We're just concerned.
Now that's funny because I don't recall Leo ever saying that. I don't recall him saying that. And it doesn't really matter because Peaches was asserting in the person's DMs that they were making a video about it. Both her and Leo.
Peaches said she was making a video.
The tweet I saw said that from Lio himself said like, hey, I'm not making a video.
Okay, but people
that could
contradict
definitely-
themselves all the time.
And also, it's easy for them to backpedal and say, oh, we're not making a video on this after they get backlash for claiming that they're going to make a video about it. It's very easy for them to then backpedal and say, oh, we were never going to make a video on it. When Peaches was asserting in the DMs that they were going to make a video about it, that doesn't add up.
Time.
Okay, I can ask Lio for receipts on that.
I think also in one of Doodle's videos, he talked with minors in the server and told them he doesn't go after people but will help gather information. Yeah, that's still engaging in predator hunting. Sorry, Zach.
Like, that's just not something I have immediately on hand.
Lio might not have said he was making the video, but you do understand that people are looking at Lio and Peaches as
Oh, he was absolutely going to help with the video. He does that all the time. Even if it's Peach's video, he collaborates with her in it and is in all of her live streams. Or was, I guess.
unit because they practically acted as a duo in everything they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable. It's more so just that I would need to go to Lio for that context because that's not something I have on
You don't
hand.
think you can just look it up? I mean, Zay did entire coverage of that thing.
When it comes to Peach's side, no, because Peaches purged their Twitter. And also,
Well, you
I'm
can
gonna
also
say
see
this,
Zay covering the screenshots of the DMs where Peaches is threatening to make a video.
I'm gonna be frank, I don't fully trust Zay as a source.
Oh my god. Again, it's like, what is this weird deflection? Or it's not really a deflection, but it's like a weird cop-out that Zach just did right there. Like, Zay talked about it. Well, I don't trust Zay. Why? Because he's mean? You don't trust Zay because he was mean to Peaches. But now it turns out Peaches was abusive, but you still don't trust Zay because of those assertions that came from Peaches? Fucking weird.
I can tell you a lot of things about Zay that are negative, but I don't like Zay isn't a liar.
Okay.
Okay.
If we're, I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to discredit Lio as to like challenge what you're saying, right? I'm not saying I don't trust Lio as a source because I don't, but I'm not doing that in this discussion. So I would hope you'd refrain from attacking people's credibility in order to like thwart a point. Because
Oh no, I'm not
I've
saying I'm
seen,
throwing
like,
out a point. I'm just saying
because
like
we were all looking at the very same thing Zay was showing on his live stream was the very same thing all of us were looking at in real time.
Yeah, it's like, what does he even mean by, well, I don't trust Zay as a source. It's like it doesn't matter. Like the stuff in that he covered, it doesn't matter if you don't trust his opinions or his personal thoughts on the matter or his editorial statements. It doesn't matter if you don't trust that. you can still see the evidence in his video for yourself. Like, for example, I don't trust Nomus Yelf. I don't trust Nomus Yelf as a wow, he's got such a dumb name. I don't trust Nomus Yelf as a source because of how I've seen him interact with Kumo, right? And how I've seen him, like, how he presents evidence and virtue signals and shit, and some of the crazy shit that he said. However, I still used his video as a source because he shows, in a pretty concise manner, a lot of the evidence that vindicates Kumo's side of the story about the whole cutting thing. That's just an example off the top of my head about that.
Yeah,
Zay didn't doctor any of those screenshots of DMs, and those screenshots of DMs were acknowledged by Peaches. Do you believe like Zay has like photoshopping knowledge? Like, do you believe Zay could like actually like create a fake Twitter page or like edit HTML to make everything look convincing just to smear Lio and Peaches for that live stream?
No, and I never insinuated as such.
Right. I'm not saying to take Zay's words as like gospel, but Zay did cover those things on stream, and so you could actually see the contents of those.
He kind of was making that assertion indirectly, though, by saying, I don't trust Zay as a source, directly after Kumo says that he covered it. Like, does that that insinuates that Zay would have, like, lied in some way, or misrepresented some information in some way that would make him untrustworthy.
And I'm telling you, Zay isn't a liar because Zay is reading what is like visibly there for us to see with our own eyes.
Yeah, I could see that. It's more so just
I could see that.
Like me personally, I
could
evidence myself
if I wanted to.
Both ends. Like maybe I do go to Zay's video, I see what is said, I ask Lio about the situation, I see what he says, I put it together, see where there's inconsistencies.
So you're saying to cross-reference two people that are contradicting each other to find the truth in the middle?
Yeah, because here's
then
the thing.
Then what's the relevance of Peaches purging everything if you were just going to get it from Lio, and you just told me that you don't trust Zay as a source? So does that mean you were just going to go to Lio and not look at what Zay had to say?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
More so that.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Him saying that him refuting, or him responding to the very notion of even going to Zay's video to see what his coverage on Miles looked like was I don't trust him, was absolutely him saying I'm not going to Zay. So I don't know why he's trying to deny that all of a sudden.
Me looking at Twitter specifically for those things that you were asking about in regards to the Miles situation would be much harder considering the fact that Peaches purged their Twitters.
But they're immortalized through people like other people posting them and reposting them and reacting to it.
Live streaming it.
Yeah, and if I do...
actually, if you don't like Zay as a source, Enlaa actually went over the exact same thing on the same day.
Kumo, they don't like me as a source either, apparently. I'm problematic, so they can't trust... I'm deranged and a sexual degenerate, actually, so they can't trust anything I say.
I mean, I am happy to look at Zay or Enlaa's videos and then...
No, you're not.
What Lio says and...
I bet you still haven't seen my coverage of the Miles thing.
See where things line up, where things don't, and see where to go from there. I'm not opposed to that. It's just that I'm predisposed to having seen Zay's past content to not initially believe a lot of what they say.
I am too. I didn't like Zay, but like the same way you're saying, like you're a believer in Lio changing because Lio went to therapy. I'm a believer. Like I was actually Akumu here is my best friend, and back when he had his drama with Zay, and actually before he had his drama with Zay, I was already like predisposed to my negative bias against Zay. But I've seen after all these years that Zay actually has changed, and that's why like I'm indifferent in terms of like Zay's past now because Zay has made.
I don't really have an opinion on Zay, but that's neither here nor there.
The effort to be different, and just because he's like a negative critic of Lio, and he's like. And he can be a little rowdy. And
I remember later the same day, Tomar pulled out his gun and asked, do you believe in God?
Doesn't mean that I think he's still conducting themselves the same way they did back when I didn't like them either, right?
Yeah, and that may be something that I would have to unpack on my own and just see, like, dive further.
You should have been doing that from the beginning, Zach. You should have been doing that from the beginning. Why is it all of a sudden, oh yeah, I'll definitely do that now. He's not going to. If he wasn't doing it before, he's not going to now.
Content specifically around that situation, because like that's just not something that I've seen in my own experience. But I'm happy to look back into it, like, and then go to both sides and just see.
You're not going to go to both sides.
Like, I'm not opposed to that at all.
I haven't seen. Still, it's been. I've been covering this shit since October. I haven't received a single message from someone in the Senate. Or Senate adjacent, or anyone related, like anyone a friend of theirs, or even from any of the people directly. Like, I haven't heard anything, not even a DM from anybody, trying to get my side or even try to convince me of anything. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Tomar, what would you do if all your Tomar, what would you do if all your adopted children abandoned you? I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
You're also talking a lot about like cross-examining, but like you haven't watched my video, right? You watched like 20.
Remember they called me untrustworthy. Yeah, what did Ephraim say? Yeah, cause I can't think of a more trustworthy source than fucking Laka.
Minutes of it.
I have not seen the whole thing, no.
Okay. And then you asked me a very,
Hey, Cassie.
I think it's safe to say, a very ill-informed question as to why I would include clips of Jordan's testimony in my video if I wasn't going to cover the family drama, correct?
Yes.
But you're still waiting on Lyo's side to form an opinion. Stop me if I'm wrong. You're not stopping me, so I'm guessing I'm right.
I am still waiting for Lyo's side, yes.
But you're on Lyo's side because of what you've seen so far.
Yeah.
In terms of screenshots and testimony.
So far, yes. But that doesn't mean that I haven't taken him to task on some things as well.
But you haven't watched my video all the way.
Not all the way through. I'm referencing other
You
situations
should have.
as well. When it comes to a lot of
That should have been the first thing you did. That should have been the thing you did before coming into a call like this. Zach, that should have been the very first thing you did. Zach admitting to barely watching commentary on Leo and then filtering it to Leo is the gayest game of telephone ever. Exactly. Like, if what he's saying is true in this call, like, I think he gets into details about it later, but basically he, like, half-heartedly watches videos criticizing Leo and then parrots back to him what he thinks is being said in the video, and based on his, based on this conversation he's having with Kumo, I don't trust Zach's listening comprehension skills. I don't trust it. And so I highly doubt that Zach is giving Leo accurate information on what is actually being said about him if Leo's truly not watching the content for himself. Apparently, Leo doesn't see the videos. Apparently, if we're to believe that. I don't know if I fully believe that, but it's possible. My question is, what determines credibility at this stage? Because it seems like it's only if you like Leo. Yeah, because, like, I've seen almost, like, every other commentary person, like, small or relatively large compared to me, like, covering it, and almost every single one of them is, you know, who's not in the Senate, by the way, not part of the Discord server, are all saying, Leo's embarrassing, he's a clown, he's fucking up, what the hell is this guy doing? This would not fly in any other community, he should be blackballed. The only people that are looking at this and, like, coming to his defense are people who are part of the Senate, are people who are part of his community, are people who are his friends. They like him, so of course they're going to just believe him. Like, point me in the direction of somebody who is outside of the Senate and has nothing to do with them, who is actively taking Leo's side. Having seen all of the relevant information and have seen all the context and the videos. It should be going still. Yeah, it's still going.
the things that have come out that people have been pushing against Lyo for the last, like, what, 6 weeks now, there's been a lot to go through. Like, I've even gone through Akuma's videos and actually, like, went to Lyo and just said, hey, what's up with this? What's the tea with this? What's going on with this?
If you've seen Akumu's videos and you've gone to Lyo, how are you still on Lyo's side about that? Is he going to be taking accountability for what Akumu's calling him out for then?
Now, I haven't seen his script, but to my knowledge, yes. He's
going to take accountability for all the lies he's been telling about Akumu and all of the contradictions and blatant lies Akumu's been catching him in with all this. Like the fact that in that call he was like, he's very blatantly saying he's going to try and get ahead of Akumu, but in his video on Conundrum, I think it was Conundrum, he's sitting here saying, like, damning Akumu and accusing him of trying to control the narrative.
Yeah, as a reminder, by the way, in his Crystal video, which was after the Conundrum video, he shows evidence that Peaches admitted the day prior to the Conundrum video being put out, that she might have been aware of Slimmers'. Oh no, she said if Slimmers was in there, which she definitely was. I think I knew she was 16 or 17, which is still a lie. However, it's still admittance that she must have known there was a minor in there. And then, the very next day, in his conundrum video, he says personally, he doubts if Peaches even knew there were minors in this server. Like, he shows evidence of him not only lying about Peach's circumstances or what she was aware of, but also coaching her. Like, actively, he shows evidence of himself coaching her. Like, this guy isn't very smart. Like, if you're gonna be sneaky, you gotta be better at it.
Like, as in, you're asking me if he's going to take accountability for everything you just said?
Yeah, is he going to take accountability for all these blatant lies he's been caught in? Is he going to like stop calling? Is he going to like walk it back about how he called Akumu a liar and how he was like painting Akumu as malicious and trying to like
He
misconstrue
specifically
everything?
said that I was the false accusation supreme and that I was misrepresenting the FCK server.
And you've seen this, right? You're saying you went to him about these videos and you're still on his side because you have to hear more from him.
I've gone to him about some of Akumu's claims. I've also taken my
Which one in
notes
particular?
on all of the
Which
claims
ones?
that Akumu
Yeah,
just
which
made.
ones?
I listed them out through.
Akumu said something interesting that just got completely overlooked, unfortunately. But Akumu does say which ones. Because if Zach is going to say, oh yeah, I've gone to him for some of them, it's like, okay, which ones? Again, it's been pretty consistent through this call so far, but he's not giving specifics. He'll say like, oh yeah, there are definitely things that Leo can be called out for, but then, or criticized for, but then not be specific about what he needs to be criticized for, right? It's very like half-hearted and wish-washy and really like beating around the bush, essentially.
Several of the videos that Akumu made. And I just said, like, completely unbiased, I just said, okay, Akumu makes this claim, Akumu makes this claim, Akumu makes this claim. Then I gave that.
How is it unbiased if you're his friend, like one of his closest friends right now? And why do you have to be the messenger? Isn't that all? That should already. My stream isn't dead. My stream's not dead. My stream's still going. Should be still going. Is it still going? And why do you have to? It should still be going, guys. I'll leave this up just in case. Yeah, it's still going, Waka. It must be your end, not mine. Sorry, Laka.
To Lio, and I said, yo, these are things you're going to want to consider.
But anyway, what I was trying to say is that should already be giving you some kind of, like, at least a yellow flag. That should be a yellow flag for you, Zach, that he's not watching the videos that are critical of him, and has to have a messenger to come and tell him what people are saying without him actually going and getting verifying that information. You got played.
Consider when you go into all of this.
So I'm not like.
Enla's muted.
'cause
What's she
obviously, I'm
saying?
not Leo, and I am not Lio. So if I look at this, from
Enla,
a
you're
different perspective,
muted.
and I go into this neutrally, and then I list out all the claims that you make, and I give them to Lio, and then say, hey, these are things that you're going to have to explain yourself for, take accountability for, or
Like
attempt to
what?
disprove.
Like
I
what?
don't see anything wrong with that.
So I have to ask you: Did you heard anything from Lio and whether he's watched Akumu's videos?
Yeah, that's one thing. I think Beckett said the same thing, I think. Or Vlad might have said this, but I really wish that Kumu could have pressed him more. Kumu, did I just say Kumu? Fuck, I'm getting the disease. The disease is spreading to me. That I wish Kumo pressed him on those things, like trying to get him to be specific. Because he's really dodging the questions by being like that.
Even the first ones.
I believe he has. I never asked him if he did.
I believe, another qualifying statement. I don't believe, I believe.
Okay.
I
Can I
remember
ask
him
your
saying
specific
in the
thoughts on him calling
February
Akumu the false
28th.
I'm
accusation
unmuted, what you
supreme
saying? Sorry, could
before
you
Akumu's
repeat
video
that?
even dropped? That was immediately the rhetoric he was going to run with? That Akumu was accusing people of things falsely despite his video not being out yet, arguing in anticipation of something he couldn't possibly know if Akumu was going to say.
Well, he had an idea of he knew the video was coming because Zaranthropy told.
Yes, but he knew that you were just going to be covering the FCK shit, and that byproduct of that Peaches might be included. But no, let Zach answer my question. How do you feel about the fact that he immediately...
Yeah, like, all Leo knew at that point is that is that Akumu was going to call out multiple people, including Peaches, for blatant hypocrisy. That's all Leo knew at that point, yet he was trying to get ahead of it and say that Akumu is nothing but a liar and was going to try and paint a false narrative before Akumu's video had even come out. And a lot of people, including Crystal, when they saw Akumu's video and saw the extent of the context, Crystal had decided to cut ties with Peaches and disavow her. Like a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of other people around their circles. Even if quietly, even if subtly, in the background.
Before Akumu's video comes out, is saying all these accusations are going to be false.
And so him trying to beat Akumu to the punch and saying he's a liar, actually after Akumu's video comes out, just makes him look worse. You never want to try and beat people to the punch about that stuff. It's better to just wait and see what the other person is going to say first. In my opinion, it's better to wait and see what they say, rather than trying to predict what they're going to say and then hastily try to put out a panic response.
Before any accusations in question could even come out. What's your take on that?
My take on that is that I was not involved with the Conundrum video in any capacity, and therefore
My take on it is that I don't know.
I would not know what his thought process.
See? I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know his exact thoughts. I don't know his intentions, so therefore I have no opinion on it. I don't know. Very, this guy could be a politician when he grows up. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know fucking anything.
On that was.
I don't want you to know. I'm not asking if you know what his thought process is. I'm asking your personal opinion.
Yeah, he's asking for your thought process.
As to what are your thoughts on the fact that he would, before Akumu's video even comes out, be accusing Akumu of making false claims about people?
Now, my take on that is that I do not fully remember.
Yeah, Kobe, it's a good question.
Everything that Leo said off the top of my head in that video.
We can pull it up. I think someone in here has the timestamp. I can show it to you live.
I mean, personally, I don't need that right now.
What do you mean you don't need that? I don't know anything about that. I can show you. I don't want to see it. You don't want to see it, Zach. You don't want to see the truth. You don't want to see it. Just admit you don't want to see it. I know it's uncomfortable to have to be confronted and challenged on your beliefs. He's like, I don't need that right now. Why not? You have the time for it. He said he had the timestamps. Why not just see even a minute or two? Why not? You don't want to see it.
But I will say,
because you're in denial. You don't want to believe it.
In regards to that would be an issue, and that would be something that he has to be taken up on, obviously.
So sorry, what did he say?
I think someone in here has the timestamp. I can show it to you live.
I mean, personally, I don't need that right now, but I will say, in regards to that would be an issue, and that would be something that he has to be taken up on, obviously. I'm not going to disagree with you there. Because here's the thing.
Actually, I have to ask you, why would it matter if...
Zach is so scared... Zach is so scared of being tied to a single definitive statement. Senate trauma, I guess. Well, it does seem like denial. The one Twitter meme where someone asked for a source, gets a link to it, and it's like, I'm not reading that. Exactly. Yeah.
So I think you've already acknowledged being privy to this. So just because you weren't involved in that Conundrum video's production, that's not what we're asking you about. It's the fact that video came in advance, before Akumu's video had even released, accusing Akumu, or claiming that Akumu was planning to make false accusations, already addressing him as the false accusation supreme.
It's so fucking funny that Zach and Hidden really thought they were gonna come in here and really lay it down, and come in here all condescending hello, so let's discuss this, shall we? They really thought they were gonna come in here and put everything to rest, put it to bed, and be like, no, we're confident that we know what we're talking about. And they left not knowing anything.
Before Akumu could even make any accusations.
Thank you, Lou.
Again, I don't have a personal opinion on that because I don't know what the thought process was on that.
It's not a thought process. It's the actions. I don't understand how you have to.
He would have to be taken up on. I don't really know what else I can say to that. Is just yeah, that is weird, and he should probably explain that further rather than just run with that. But I'm gonna be honest. I will say this here: one of the main reasons, to my knowledge, because I was actually in
qualifying
the
statement to my knowledge.
What was? Hold on. Which call? Which call would they?
This was February 25th.
So the one before Peaches made the Twitter thread.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one before Crystal's. I know that. I think it might have been before Peaches.
Did they
I
make
was
the
not
Twitter
in there
threads the same day?
They were not made on the same day. I think they were made a day apart.
Crystal dropped one the same day that Peaches dropped hers.
I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, that Peaches dropped hers on the 25th. And, well, actually, guess who can fact check this? Guess who can fact check this? It would be, let's talk about the FCK. February 25th, 2024. And then later on down the line, I got a message from Crystal. There it is. February 26th. So yeah, they were a day apart. Actually, let's see. It's 4:40 p.m. I think that's my time. And yeah, they were like almost a full day apart from each other. So the timeline is that February 25th, I think they have that call on the 25th. Crystal tells Peaches that she needs to make a response, or she needs to start working on a response. Peaches puts out a response on the same day, and then Akumu's video comes out which day again? Let's see. February 26th. So Akumu's video comes out on the 26th. And then after Akumu's video comes out, then Crystal makes her Twitter thread because she's likely seen this evidence plus other evidence with the amino stuff, right? So that all adds up.
I thought Peaches dropped.
Peaches
No,
dropped
they're on
the
the same
thread
day.
on the 25th.
Yeah, Peaches dropped it on the 25th, and I believe Crystal did it on the 26th. But when it
Okay.
comes to that situation,
So wait, there's
The
no time in
reason-
between then. So it was either on the day that Peaches dropped her thread, or it was before Peaches dropped her thread.
It was on
No, it was a day after Akumo.
the day, but I was asking specifically if Zach.
the reason that I bring up that call is because one of the big factors as to why, like, Lio was talking about the stuff with Peaches and why Peaches made that thread was not fully because I don't want to say that it wasn't in part because of Akuma's video premiering, because I, again, am not them and would not know that. But the main reason we were sat there.
No, well, okay, hold on. Let me back up a little bit, because he has, like, a fucking word salad right now, but
If Zach.
let me listen to what he says.
The reason that I bring up that call is because one of the big factors as to why, like, Lio was talking about the stuff with Peaches and why Peaches made that thread was not fully because I don't want to say that it wasn't in part because of Akuma's video premiering.
It was absolutely because of Akumu's video premiering. That's why they were trying to get ahead of it in the first place. Leo literally says in the call with Crystal that he has to put out... They both say it, actually. Crystal says it, too, that they have to get ahead of this. It was absolutely to get... What more evidence do you need? It was absolutely, like, why are you being wishy-washy on this when that was literally in their conversations that Leo put in his own video on Crystal? What are you talking about? He self-reported on himself that it was absolutely to get ahead of Akumu's video. My god, you don't know anything of what you're talking about, Zach. You don't know. You don't know anything.
Because I, again, am not them and would not know that.
I'm not them and would have no possible way of knowing that. Because I don't know what's in their head, so there's no way for me to know that it was because of that. Even though they literally state that it's because of that, you still don't know what's in their head. Oh, we can't possibly know. Yeah, but you can infer or make speculations on Jordan's intentions, Jay's intentions, or Kumo's intentions with putting out their statements on his channel. You can make inferences about their intentions or speculate on that without being in their head or knowing what they're thinking. Come on, Zach. It's so transparent.
But the main reason we were sat there in that call with Crystal and Peaches in there was that Crystal had, like, found the stuff with the amino screenshot.
Not during that call. Not during that call. That happened after the February 25th call. I wish you were in that call, Enlaa, roasting them. I probably would not be so brazen if I was in the call at the time. And plus, Kumo probably would have shut me down a lot because of the pecking order, and it was his server, so I probably wouldn't have had a lot of time to talk anyway. But yeah.
On the 25th. The stuff with the FCK and stuff came to Crystal on the 25th. And Crystal
Were you there
found
for the whole
this-
call?
No, I was there for like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, I was
Okay.
not there long.
Did you
But-
see?
I wasn't even just muted. I was like completely deafened because I had forgotten that I was even in a call because I went to go take care of my cats.
Lyle's a Crystal Flame video.
Yes,
Hang
I
on,
did.
sorry, I'll
The
go
stuff
back.
with the FCK and stuff came to Crystal on the 25th.
And I kick myself about it every fucking day because I should have been in that call. I'm so frustrated with myself.
And Crystal
Were you there
found
for the whole
this-
call?
No, I was there for like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, I was
Okay.
not there long.
Did you
But-
see Lyle's a Crystal Flame video?
Yes, I did.
So you did you watch the entire thing?
I watched it through, yes.
So
Then you would know.
there's a part in the call that he plays a part from the 25th. The call that's held on the 25th.
Yes.
And he plays several parts, but the main two parts that I want to talk about is
Artemis, you're
the
not the
part
only
where
one wondering that.
Crystal Flame and Peaches are talking about how he's going to get his video done.
Yeah, and I had literally just talked about this, but I'll let Akumu speak.
Before, and he
Hi,
specifically
Artemis.
states that he's going to get it up before him, referring to me. Then there's the fact that they advised Peaches to make the Twitter thread ahead of time to beat me to the punch. So what Kumo was asking beforehand, and what I'm going to ask now that I've given the specifics is, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because in the Conundrum video that hadn't even finished, he said this in the Crystal Flame video, that he's going to hurry up to get it done before my video.
Are you
he said
referring
that-
to like the statement about you in the Conundrum video, or referring to getting the Crystal video done?
In the Crystal, no. So the Crystal Flame video, in the Crystal Flame video,
Why would he Zach, you don't know what you're talking about. That is such a dumb question. Listen to him ask that question again.
this in the Crystal Flame video, that he's going to hurry up to get it done before my video.
Are you
He said
referring
that-
to like the statement about you in the Conundrum video, or referring to getting the Crystal video done?
Zach, why would he be referring to getting Crystal's video done in a call with Crystal? Think, Zach, think! You gotta think, Zach!
In the Crystal, no. So the Crystal Flame video, in the Crystal Flame video plays a clip from a call that was held on February 25th, which was done before Peaches made the Twitter thread, and it was before Lyle finished the Conundrum video. He specifically talks about finishing the Conundrum video so that he could get it out before my FCK video. And they talk about advising
Why are
Peaches
you
to make
here?
the Twitter thread to beat me to the punch. But yet in the Conundrum video that he hadn't even finished yet, that he released the next day, he says that I'm trying to control the narrative, that I'm the false accusation supreme, doesn't state what's actually false though, and that I'm misrepresenting or going to misrepresent the FCK server.
So what do you think Zach is gonna say here? Is he gonna say a variation of, I don't know anything about that, I have no opinion on that, I wouldn't know that, I don't know what's in their heads?
Yeah, okay. So in regards to all of that, I feel like this is something where the actions can absolutely be criticized 100%.
Which ones? Which actions? When you say the actions, what actions are you talking about, Zach?
The big thing that I want to kind of bring to this is the fact that, like, Peaches was getting extremely abusive and
Okay, so yeah, so he didn't do anything, he just deflects to, well, Peaches was being mean at the time. This isn't about that. This is about Leo's actions. At this point, this barely has anything to do with Peaches. Peaches is gone, for now, at least. Peaches has run away. We are talking about Leo and his actions, not his intentions, not his feelings, not his abuse from Peaches. We are talking about him and the things that he's actually said and done. We don't have to be in his head or know how he's feeling or have context that he was abused by Peaches to know that what he did was fucking wrong and stupid. Why are you here? Why are you here?
vindictive towards everybody involved with the Crystal stuff and with, like, everything surrounding them specifically.
Doesn't matter.
'Cause
I
the
don't
big thing
care.
understand with Peaches and how they used a lot of us is they were constantly
Peaches didn't use you. What would she use you for? She used you as a hug box. That's it.
using their own mental health as a way for us to take the brunt of their issues.
Boo-hoo, you should have realized it sooner.
And
But that doesn't
something
answer my
Lyle did a
question.
lot.
It doesn't answer his question at all.
What question do you need answered then?
So in the Crystal Flame video, he plays clips from a call that was held before the
He has to explain it again for the third time. He's not getting it.
Conundrum video was even finished. In the call, Peaches admits to knowing that Slimmers is a... Then in the Conundrum video, Lio says that he doubts Peaches knew. which was released the day afterward. The video wasn't finished yet. He had to finish that segment that he rushed to get.
I think it's a little bit of both, Laka. I think it's both him being naive in the sense that he's in denial, and also just trying to, like, desperately dig him and his friend out of this hole that they've dug for themselves. Zaddy.
It out, as he admitted in the Crystal Flame
All the BS Zach is spewing to cover Leo, I could fertilize 500 acres of farmland.
calls to get out before my video. So there's shit that he talked about before the Crystal Flame video that before the Conundrum video that contradict
I won't patronize him by calling him a small child, but he doesn't understand what he's talking about.
what he's claiming in the Conundrum video.
Yes.
So why is he lying for Peaches?
It's because Peaches was threatening to end their life or
I don't care. I don't care.
cut him off. If he
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.
You
didn't
acknowledge
do
that he
this shit.
lied.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying it's right. I'm
Yeah, he's still... I'm not saying it's right. I'm just trying to excuse it and justify it.
not saying the actions in question.
But he says but in the same video he's lying. He's saying
You
He
cut
says he
off
draws the
again.
line at lying too.
Yeah.
Again.
One thing I don't do is lie. One thing I don't do is lie. Where was that again? I know Leia has it, but do I have it? I thought we had it in here. Yeah.
One thing I don't do it is lie.
Yeah. Well.
And
in the same video.
in the same video. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, and Leo would constantly get incredibly offended when anyone would even insinuate that he lied about something. Yet now it's okay for him to have lied about a lot of things simply because, oh, Peaches was being abusive to him. You know, shit, Peaches was being abusive to him. We've all been speculating this for months now. You're just now catching on to this?
Not saying that the actions are wrong here. I'm just attempting to explain context for them.
Okay, we don't need you to explain for him. And I think you've stressed it enough that you don't know Lyle, you can't get inside his head. We don't expect you to, and I thought you weren't going to. Really, what that gets to is
He's
what's your
19
personal
now,
opinion
yeah.
on that if you have one.
Yeah, the fact that he's willing to lie, and then say that
That should be another red flag for you, Zach. Someone who touts themselves as being this morally just and honest person who never lies while accusing everybody else of being a liar. It comes out, oh yeah, I was lying, but it's because I was being abused by someone who's 10 years younger than me, or 15 years younger than me, actually. Is that not a red flag to you? That should be putting off warning signs in your head that this person is lying to you. That should have been your first clue to get out.
he draws the line at lying. Like at the same time, what does that say about his character to you?
You know who else said something similar? Pondra Sprocket did in her Spoctor video about Atari and Pentagrin, about the whole Spoctor thing, when Stories was lying about 8 being 8, and then suddenly it's revealed to them that she was lying, and they still side with her anyway, just to get back at somebody that they don't like. It all is cyclical. Nobody fucking learns. Nobody learns.
So to me, what it says, knowing what I know now, is that two things.
Knowing what you know now, what do you know now? He's using all this vague language. Knowing what I know now, having said that, with the relevant information, it's like, be specific.
One, Lio has things that definitely need addressed and should be taken up, should have accountability taken, and should be elaborated on in order to explain what happened, why it was wrong, and how moving forward things can be fixed. The other thing.
He could have done that months ago. He could have done that a year ago. He could have done that when the Rosa Call happened. If they recognized at the time the Rosa Call was happening that the Rosa Call was wrong, guess what they could have done? They could have talked about the Rosa Call and disavowed the Rosa Call and said the Rosa Call was wrong. Oh my god, this person is maddening.
Thing that I can absolutely attest to, considering what people
It's
did
spherical!
to me, was that people do things under distress and fear that they don't normally do.
Like Kumo? Like Kumo? Like Nyx the Shield? Like Jackie Animations? Like Camila Cuevas?
And that is absolutely something that consistently happened with Lio and Peaches.
This is something I alluded to earlier, is that in my situation,
Why do they get a pass and no one else does?
situation, Lio Convoy, and I like I said, I showed screenshots of Peaches not only trying to guilt trip but making it about herself, and even later on in her DMs, in their DMs to Jordan, going on to like talk about a fake suicide attempt, saying they took a bunch of pills but it was only enough to make them sick, whilst typing perfectly fine. The very next day, being perfectly well enough to come in and badger me and be performative in a call, very blatantly. Like another example, long before you came into the picture, of Peaches weaponizing their mental health and whatnot. And
No, I can almost guarantee you, like, within the next 2 months, Zach is gonna drop him and claim that Leo was also abusing him. Like, it never ends. It never fucking ends with these people.
trying to very blatantly, I agree that Peaches probably did try to manipulate Lio, but I don't personally, and this is why I'm asking you for your opinion, is I
When will you learn? When will you learn?
don't think that vindicates Lio, because Lio has since chosen to double down about that.
It absolutely does not vindicate Leo. In no way does it actually vindicate Leo. There's no point in him trying to... He's trying to throw Peaches under a bus from where he's standing or laying under a bus. Like that Peaches threw him under. It's not gonna work out well for him.
He's since chosen to double down about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
That he would what you're suggesting, that he would have been, I guess, influenced or manipulated by Peaches to do. Well, if he's no longer under that influence and he's free of that, why still double down about it?
So
We'll
with
continue to
you,
lie.
so with him, again, that's not something that I would personally know.
That's not something I would know. That's not something I would... So what's the question he asked again?
That,
Yeah, and
that he would what you're suggesting, that he would have been, I guess, influenced or manipulated by Peaches to do. Well, if he's no longer under that influence and he's free of that, why still double down about it?
So that's not something he would know. You don't have to know personally. But you can speculate. You can have an opinion, Zach. I know you're in PR mode right now. You can still have a fucking opinion. Here's the thing, right? That should be the biggest red flag to you. Because even if he was doing all these things because he was being manipulated by someone who's almost 15 years younger than him, then why didn't Camilla get a pass for being manipulated and supposedly abused by Veer when Camilla was lying and denying things and defending Veer for his grooming actions? Why doesn't anyone else get a pass for doing that if they're being abused by someone else at the time? That's the thing. And that's something I wish was asked in the call. Do you think that Leo or Peaches or anyone else would have given anyone else a pass for that same exact excuse? I don't think so, because they never have in the past. We're talking about people who didn't even think that chronic grand mal seizures were a proper excuse. Like, get fucking real. Get it in your head.
So
We'll
with
continue to
you,
lie.
so with him, again, that's not something that I would personally know.
You don't want to know. That's the thing. You don't want to know. You don't personally know that because you've never asked. And you've never asked and you've never looked into it because you don't want to know.
Would he be willing to speak to me, actually? Assuming you, because I'm guessing you believe I have very valid concerns and questions here. Do you think?
I mean, he's dodging the call with
Something
me.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's not dodging it without reason. He's literally working on shit.
I like how he doesn't deny that Leo is dodging the call. He is, in fact, dodging. He doesn't deny that. He says he's not dodging the call for that reason. He's dodging it because he's busy.
Constantly for this response.
Okay,
and
okay.
right now, he definitely
And he's working on the response.
is not awake. So
But he was earlier.
But he has been
Really?
dodging it, like, for a good while now, before he was really busy. Like, so if we go back to late February, okay? Late February,
He's actively run away from calls. It has nothing... Shut up, Kumo. Shut up. It's like he's actively run away from these calls with people before. It's not that he's avoiding it because he's busy. Oh, he's just so busy. He's actively run away from them.
where he was
He's absolutely dodging them because he's scared.
having calls about Rin. You know, their big soap opera whining call about Rin once he announced who was behind the FCK Leaks account to try and distract people from the claims that they were making. There was the February 28th call where he was lying in the call. That was
Many
posted
calls
by the
after
Outsider.
that.
You notice the stark contrast that Kumo and Akumu can bring very specific examples of the claims that they are making about Leo, while Zach can give no specifics about the claims that he's making about Peaches, or even claims that he's making about Leo's changed behavior. He can't give a single example about anything. Meanwhile, Kumo and Akumu have all of these examples and specificities that they can turn to at a moment's notice to expand on their point. But Zach's got nothing.
That went on for
Many calls
hours.
after that, the attempt to drag Mad Libs into the server to berate her for misinformation. Still no answer on what that misinformation is.
Talking to, actually, are you aware of the whole D-Weasel thing where he was supposed to be talking to D-Weasel about the Book of Omens server and
No.
stuff that, okay. So actually that was that I uploaded a video.
Some secretary this guy is. You're Leo's twink secretary. Like, how are you Leo's twink secretary and not know anything about what Leo is doing? Or has been doing, or don't know the specifics of these things? Aren't you his secretary? What is a secretary supposed to do again?
I think it's just literally the date that it happened is the title of the video, where I attempted to get into a call with Lyle Convoy, where I could ask him questions, at least schedule a call, not for a discussion, but just so I could ask him questions in the same vein that I asked Jordan and Jay, so that I could ask him questions and potentially put his side out there, or at least cross-reference his side with the sides of the other two, because I was invested and I was interested, but I wasn't planning on covering it.
I was just going to say that.
I was at least interested, and he immediately had all the time in the world to notice that he apparently went to bed hours prior. I was already given the context that he was just playing Among Us with Peaches all night that night. By the way, this happened in like February. I tried to get into a call with him. I had D-Weasel add us to a group chat, and the second I get in that group chat, and it's like under a minute, I get in that group chat, I'm typing out a message, I have Lyle tag, I'm ready to ask him if he'd be willing to set some time aside to answer some questions for me, and maybe I could answer some for him in the future.
Hey, Wild
This happened in
Spirit.
February, before my big video dropped. He left that group chat before, like, within under a minute of it being made, 30 minutes after having told D-Weasel that he was going to bed and he had just taken melatonin. After he had blown
I was thinking about that earlier. Just a little bit of advice for Leo. Don't take melatonin until you are actively in bed and away from your phone or computer. Don't take melatonin while you're still browsing on your phone, because then the melatonin's not gonna fucking work. So either he's lying about having just taken melatonin, or he just doesn't have very good sleep hygiene.
D-Weasel off, and I think, Hidden, were you the one who spoke to D-Weasel in that call?
Oh, that is a damn good question. It could be, but I doubt it because I don't remember.
That is a good, that's something that people do when they're trying to figure out whether to be honest or not. That's a telltale thing that people do to stall a little bit. They go, that is a good question. Oh, gee, let me think. Was I the one in there? Oh, it could have been. That's people stalling for time to decide on whether or not they're going to be honest about that or lie about it. Sorry, I know I'm making an assertion there, I'm making an assumption. But I don't know.
For ever being in a group chat.
That is hidden, yes.
So,
Okay.
good
Okay.
question.
Well, I do know that D-Weasel.
Yeah, good question. That good question. How do you not remember, by the way? It's not like it happened that long ago. The name would sound familiar if it was me. The name would sound at least familiar. But whatever.
On that night told me that Lyle left and pawned him off on one of his admins, and so I was like, maybe it was Hidden. I don't know. I never got the name of the admin.
Probably not me because I'm only a mod in that server, so I don't admin for him. I literally just do mod stuff.
Well, I mean, I say admin mod interchangeably, so.
Oh, that's fair.
Well, Lyle
Yeah.
clearly had time today to talk.
That wasn't
Not
very
for-
long.
Yeah, that was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that needs to be cleared up. That call specifically was had with somebody who was both in my server but also Zach's server, behaving erratically, to put it lightly. So Zach
But
would
that call is just one of many where he's gone and done.
So this is where they start to pivot into, to pivot into the whole reason why this call was had in the first place. You're covering Hidden's part? Hell no. I don't give a shit about Hidden's part. I'm sorry, I don't.
Something else where he could be. For example, how about recently the tweet that he made after he announced that he was delaying this because his grandmother is sick? He made a tweet trying to say that it was Ren behind an account following him, and then got ratioed and deleted the tweet. But he's
So, some clarification on that. He was speaking about a different Damien when he said that. At least that's what people are saying. But it's still weird that I think he deleted it. He ended up deleting it because Streamline Workshops took offense to him trying to come to her defense when she wasn't asking for it, and while they were on bad terms. I think that's why he ended up deleting it.
so busy.
I wouldn't know about that. So I am
Oh
not
wow, it's almost like they both read out of the same playbook. So I wouldn't know anything about that.
lenience to talk about this because, as you might know, I have a server of 300 people that was dropped to me that I'm dealing with. I'm currently
Wow, you want a fucking medal hidden?
jobless, but
It
preparing to
wasn't
take on my
dropped
job.
you.
So
It wasn't hidden. We're not going to get into this. It wasn't dropped on you. You're choosing to let it exist.
that is true, yes, but it's still something I'm responsible for. So I have to pay it.
Can I ask a
Obviously.
Choose to
question?
make it your responsibility.
Like, this is one question. Like,
Go on, Kato.
why did you accuse some random Discord
Yeah, this is where we get into the Captain Lullaby stuff.
user of being me with a voice changer?
Whoa,
The
sorry.
rules.
Can you record my gameplay? It'd be really fun.
Okay.
I have the talking stick.
What happened?
Shut
Ah,
Shut
shit. I fucked it up. Where were we? Hang on. Okay, we didn't get up.
No. I'm not saying I can't be criticized because I can't. This is private.
What to say? I was like, well, you could always ask.
Call someone obsessive for just fucking around.
Still no answer on what that misinformation is
Talking
supposed
to actually, are you that he was going to bed and he had just taken
tweet, but he's so busy.
Here we go. Sorry.
I wouldn't know about that, so I am not at
Sorry,
lenience to talk about this
sorry.
because, as you might know, I have a server of 300 people that
Alright,
was dropped to me
Craw.
that I'm dealing with. I'm currently jobless, but
It
preparing
wasn't
to take on my
dropped
job.
you.
So
It wasn't hidden. We're not going to get into this. It wasn't dropped on you. You're choosing to let it exist.
that is true, yes, but it's still something I'm responsible for. So I have to pay it.
Can I ask a
Obviously.
question?
Choose to make it your responsibility.
Like,
Why
just
don't you
one
delete it?
question. Like,
Go on, Kato.
Stop sharpening
why did
pencils.
accuse
Fuck
some
you.
random Discord user of being me with a voice changer?
Yeah, okay. So, reason is
Okay.
because they were behaving rather erratically in my servers. And the reason we thought it was someone in the server is because we had issues where people, like, were coming into my servers and hidden server and Senate in the past, where people were just trolling around. And the reason we thought it was them,
Trolling is not erratic behavior. I love that they, like, conflate those two things. Is it trolly behavior or is it erratic behavior? Be specific. It's funny that they can't even elaborate on what this person said or did.
that we thought they were you, was because of the fact that they had come into Senate, Supreme Court, and my server, and all done weird things in all three of those servers, sometimes involving the same people.
What
Okay,
weird
so how am I
things?
weird?
The re-
What is
How
the
does that correlate to
connection?
Kato?
Yeah.
So the reason I thought it was possibly you was because of the fact that it was tied to me specifically, and you had like made posts about me in the past.
I'm trolling
That
you.
is why.
How
Yeah.
other than trolling you and making an
Honestly, perfect response from Kato right there, just being like, I'm trolling you. That's it. That's it. I'm trolling you.
a redesigned OC of your character to troll you, how am I weird? How did it correlate in any way? Other
Making
than
an
that.
entire OC to troll somebody is kind of weird behavior. Like, it is trolling behavior, yes, but also this person was also doing trolling behavior. That's why.
Making-
You know what else? You know what's also weird behavior, Zach? Calling a 15-year-old school hoping that they'll get the police called on them just because you lost to them in a Discord argument. That's weird behavior. I think that's pretty weird behavior. And then continuing to justify it and lie about it 2 years later. That's kind of weird behavior, don't you think?
Being an entire OC to troll someone is weird behavior.
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, but
So is it weird to just do skits and make like parody art and stuff?
Not entirely,
Or is
no.
this like
But the reason
arbitrary
I found it
qualifier
weird,
to? Well, you're calling Kato weird, and it sounds like you're implying they're like what is the implication when you just vaguely call Kato weird, and then you're like saying this person was erratic?
yeah, what did they
I
do?
thought
Like,
it-
what did they do that you're like?
No, it's not.
associating me
No,
with?
Kato. That's actually not as important as this question. What about
My question is more important than your question.
that is weird? Like, what is weird specifically? How is it weird? How weird is it?
Kato's behavior or the person's behavior in the server.
We're not talking about the person. We're talking about Kato because you're implying that Kato is
But Enlaa, you're comparing things not relevant to the current thing. Wait, what do you mean?
weird, and you're saying like I'm not here to get on you equating the two because that's
Yeah.
already known that you're doing that. Kato's asking a redundant question. I'm
Sorry.
asking you how it's weird
Sorry.
and how weird is it? Like how
I'm sorry, Daddy Kumo. I'm sorry, great leader Kumo. Kato, you're not beating these Kumo cult allegations.
are you
It's
trying
mainly weird
characterize
to me because of the fact that Kato made an OC and then also made a video using those OC skills on a channel.
Okay,
Like, after that happened, I found that really odd to do, also in such a short
it was
time span.
bait, and you fell for it. I don't know what to tell you.
How did I fall for it?
Okay, and now
Because you reacted to it. That's you get baited. If you bite, you're baited. If you bite the bait, you got baited.
hold on. Now how weird is it? Like what are you implying by saying
It's not
weird?
intensely weird. It's just like that's just odd to me, like to do.
Weird behavior is befriending old men, older than your own father, then making a homoerotic visual novel with said geezer. That is true. That's also weird behavior. So that's a way better example than mine. Thank you, Kumo.
It's odd to you. Okay, so but you're saying it's like weird. and it sounds
Supreme
like you're
leader,
implying something else,
actually.
because like I know plenty of people who
What
like
do you
when they're
think I'm
trolling
implying?
someone. I think you're implying that they're like obsessive or something. A very common Senate
No.
state. It's a Senate staple to call someone obsessive for just fucking around with you. They're not just you, but
No.
anyone from Senate.
No, Kato being
Okay.
like trolling me, yeah, sure, but
Okay.
like
Okay. And
not
so now
calling
now
Kato
Kato's
obsessive.
question becomes valid or relevant here. So what about that being odd to you? It somehow equates to that person being weird. Like you said, they were being like
Erratic.
erratic or whatever, and that they were
Yes.
involved with the same people. How does that equate?
I was saying that because of the trolling behavior happening with my server and then with the other two servers, all linking up, and then it happening with my server for multiple days, and the fact that Kato had done some trolling behavior towards me in the past, that's why I came to that conclusion. It's not that
Or it could just be someone that was in a server with Kato wanting to copy them. Because you're going to have copycats when you start doing something that's funny or popular. Other people are going to start doing it too.
like I think Kato is being obsessive or anything, because obviously we know that person is not Kato now.
Well, I mean,
I
the way you
came to
just
that
the way you
conclusion
just
based off of
yeah,
like,
the way you just explained that conclusion, it sounds like if that were true, that Kato would sound a bit obsessive, though.
yeah, but it's not Kato. So why would I call Kato obsessive if
But
You
it seems
accused
like
them
you
of
were, it seems
being-
like you were that was the initial intention.
You said they were well, while you were under the assumption that this person was me, you guys said that they were using a voice changer. So
Yeah,
you
the-
were like, you were clear on you thought this was me, and you were accusing them of being me because of some bullshit they did in servers that I'm not even a part of.
yeah, the reason was because of the fact that you had
Okay.
trolled around.
So I'll say this.
Okay.
On Twitter multiple times I've linked my Discord username. I've even been in the Senate once. I don't know if those messages are there. I was only in the waiting room. You could look at it, click on my name, see Evil Canadian 6969, and search it up everywhere else. I'm not anywhere else that you claim that.
Not
this
to
person
mention,
was.
Kato didn't join that server to troll. So you're saying this one person who was joining the server, who was joining that server, trolling you, or trolling all Senate adjacent spaces, really. That one person, all right, there was some possibility that it was Kato, because Kato did a little bit where they like made a parody version of your OC and was like coming at you negatively in some tweets.
Yeah, like that's just the conclusion I drew. The conclusion was incorrect. That's all there was to it.
Okay, but you guys wanted me to join that call. I'm not retarded.
The reason
Like, I'm not gonna
okay.
fall for that.
the reason
Well,
that we
not completely retarded. But you almost fell for it. But that's neither here nor there.
asked you to join that call is because the person asked if
Ooh, I got
the person in
trolled.
question
Please feel
actually
bad
said,
for me,
If
yeah.
you want me to bring Kato in here,
Yeah, you were
I
implying,
can."
dum-dum.
So we said, okay, they proposed it, not us.
Yeah, to allegedly sort out any, like, hash out beef. There's no beef. I just,
Kuma putting women in their place.
I'm just trolling.
Yeah, why would that be the suggestion when Kato asked why then? If that person asked or suggested that Kato could, then why was Kato being told that it was to sort out whatever issues you had with them after you guys had apparently realized it wasn't Kato?
It just seems
We don't know why they proposed it, but they did. And then we said, okay, if you want to bring them in, we're not opposed to that.
Wait, hold on. So Kato, just to clarify, the person in question, hold on, they're timed out. Let me find them. Captain Lullaby. Was
Mhm.
that the person you were DMing
Yes.
when?
because
that's the person
Goblin
who
was
DM'd you?
telling me about it. Goblin said you should join, and I was like, no, I'm gonna let them be conspiracist theorists and whatever, because this was before you guys figured out that it wasn't me. And then Captain Lullaby
So
DM'd me.
wait. So I need you to clarify. Was it Captain Lullaby that was asking?
Real
that was, like, trying
Ligma
to get you
male
to call
activity.
on your end, or was it someone else?
It was Captain Lullaby, and
Hold on.
Uh-oh, Kato using the R slur. Oh no. I like that they try to make the argument that, like, oh, we weren't calling Kato Obsessor, even though the very first time Leo even mentions Kato, he calls her a new Obsessor. Like, you're not beating these allegations.
Hold on. Goblin, what? Was it yes or no?
Let me say, Captain Lullaby was in my DMs asking for like help and not knowing what to say. I was like, well, you could always ask Kato to probably join, and they said, I don't know who Kato is. I'm like, Kato's
Ah, so it's Goblin's fault.
in the same server as us.
and then I got
like,
a DM, and I was like, LOL, K, wow, okay, lol. Why would I join?
Did they say they could get Kato in, or did they suggest that you just talk to Kato?
They asked if they could bring Kato in.
Okay. I'm just going to say on record, I believe you when you say this guy is weird, because I think it was just a couple of nights ago he joined in this server for the first time. If you can't tell, purple names are like white names and everything.
Can confirm Captain Lullaby is weird. I don't usually listen to what they have to say because they're weird.
Every other Discord, we don't fucking know them, we don't trust them, they have no perms, and most of the time they come in here and we bully them because they're usually weird. Well, if you, I don't know, you guys can't see it. I'll just go ahead and screenshot it. And is there currently a text chat you have open that you can see where I can post it for you to see?
Yeah, just drop it in the open chat in general VC.
Open chat in general VC. Okay, here you go. This guy's timed out until Friday because we think he's weird. He came in, he rubbed us the wrong way. I can agree that he's weird.
Yeah.
But you thought he was Kato because
It was
Kato
just mainly
told
based
you
off of
previously?
circumstantial. Yeah, it was circumstantial trolling behavior. That's why I thought it was Kato. We now know that that is wrong, and Kato, I do apologize for making that wrong assumption because we know it wasn't you.
It just, like, before this whole conversation that we're having now, to me, it felt like we're going to accuse this person of being Kato, so they'll message Kato and she'll fall for the bait so she can come in here and get hammered. Okay,
That
that's
was not the
that was
intent.
my assumption after like,
Yeah, no.
and I don't think you can blame anyone for feeling that way. Like with your guys' track history,
Mm-hmm.
like if this happened to anyone
And they
else
have
in
a very
here, like, they
clear
would probably
track
feel the same
record.
way with that happening.
Yeah, like I could definitely understand like where that comes from, and I am sorry for making that wrong assumption, Kato. Like,
It's okay. I mean, like, it's not gonna like stop me from like being an asshole on the internet, but I appreciate it.
yeah, I got that.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's just
Base.
because like all the claims I've made about like my negative input of you are not based in this weird conspiracy. Right? I'm not saying like Zach like
Kato,
has been in Texas
Some advice: you don't need to over-explain yourself. It's fine.
this whole time. Like I'm not making those like being conspiracy theorists.
Did I say
I'm
Zach or
saying-
Kato?
I'm
I meant
saying, like, you're
Kato.
still friends with Lio, even though you said publicly that you were leaving the Senate, then came back, and that's my gripe with you.
Is it cool if I like explain that real quick of like what went
Sure.
down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So I never left Senate. I did claim that I would, and I forgot to update that. That is absolutely my bad. By that point, I had already started working on my response to everything, and I had already been booted out of Peaches' private server the night before the Senate meltdown happened. But basically, I just fully forgot to make another statement about it. I told Senate that I wasn't leaving, but I didn't feel the need to make another statement because my statement had already gone down from Senate server. So I was like, okay, I'll just roll with the punches. That was my bad for like not updating that. When it comes to like everything I said in there, a lot of it was under the influence of Peaches and Lumi. Like it was not fully my words.
No, you're gonna have to prove that. You are gonna have to prove that, Zach. Apparently, he's exported the entire personal server. So, if he's gonna make the claim that, like, oh, it wasn't my decision to leave the Senate and betray Leo, that was Peaches and Lumi's influence, you're gonna have to fucking prove that. Otherwise, it just looks like you decided to leave, realized you were backing the wrong horse, and then went back to Leo and then tried to make it out like, oh, well, Peaches was abusing me to try and get away with it. And Leo's dumb, so he's gonna fucking fall for that. But to everyone else, it just looks like you're being two-faced, and you're trying to figure out which team to root for right now. That's why he's claiming he's being neutral, but also still leaning towards Leo, because he's still testing the waters a little bit. You're an opportunist, Zach. That's what you are.
Well, you said
The
it.
only-
Okay, so is this going to be another situation where like blame is passed off on other people, like kind of what's going on with the FCK, where all like the FCK members are trying to pass all the blame onto Toasty only? Is that what's going to go on with Peaches and Lumi?
No. I'm not saying I can't be criticized, because I can be. I'm just saying, like, there is context to what's going on. But, like, at the end of the day, I was the one who, like, hit send on the statement going up. Like, at the end of the day, that's me.
Yeah, but you were
no
like
shit,
critical of Lio
Sherlock.
and whatnot, and saying you were going to be distancing yourself from him in that statement, did you not?
Yes, but here's what changed that. What changed that is, later that night, I had a lot more context of everything that had been going on with him and Peaches in private.
Was that given to you from Lio?
We switched out.
Was that given to you from Lio?
That was given to me from Lio, from Ellie, from Heaton, and from Susie. It was corroborated by my
From Heaton, Susie, and Ellie Momelli.
Yes.
Interesting.
All
And
of them.
Lio.
And Lio, yes. And initially, Ellie was actually the one who brought it to me and was like, yeah, no, like, there is a lot more to this that I have now seen that does reach this far darker.
Like what?
And
Like what, Zach?
I was like, okay, I'll wait to see that. And then I did, and I was like, oh my god, we were all played.
And we were all played? No, you were played. You're still being played, Zach. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
I do have another question.
Yes.
So Lio's spy in the FCK server. That's the Pink Ranger guy. My question is, since Lio's had that spy in there for a while now, since he's got a hold of logs, and he messaged Laka stating, what are you doing in the FCK? Because the spy informed him that Laka was invited. And this is probably the same person that he pulled the metadata from the server as well for. Why did he lie and claim that I was not giving the logs to anybody? Because his spy could easily see that I was inviting people to get their own copies of the log.
That I
That
do
don't
not know.
I actually don't think I ever asked him on that. That is definitely something I can ask him about, though.
Okay.
What have you specifically asked him?
I gotta check my notes, check my pictures.
I've definitely asked him about more stuff regarding the crystal sitch specifically. That
Like the
is
call?
There is no
Not just-
crystal sitch. That is a sitch that you guys made up.
like the calls, but also a lot of screen caps involving things, asking about different things that Peaches had hands in, things that Peaches admitted to publicly and privately, whichever things, handlings on both Peaches and Lio's end in regards to handling different people surrounding the glitch tail situation, things like that. I was not as involved with the FCK stuff like at all, to be honest.
It was Optica that
I do
was.
apologize. I do not have info on
Okay.
that.
I have a question actually before we get too much further, because then I also want to give Bruce an opportunity to ask you a question.
Okay.
it sounds to me like this entire thing, like Akuma, sort of similar to Akuma's question, like how he's asking if this is all just going to be, the blame is all going to be passed on to Peaches, the same way everyone from the FCK is trying to pass it on to Toasty. It sounds to me like you guys are very, just based on the I asked you what questions you asked Lio, or what you did ask Lio about. It sounds to me like you guys are significantly more focused on trying to like go after Peaches right now.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Stop me if I'm wrong. I mean.
So
No,
with me,
you're not wrong.
Yes and no, because it's not that I want to absolve Lio of everything he's ever done. Like, that's definitely not the case. With my video in particular, mine and Lio's videos are very different. While we've had to pass things between one another for evidence and things like that, the contents of it are drastically different.
It's almost like the contents of your videos don't have to be the same because you're collaborating with each other on who's gonna talk about what. It's not like you guys are making these videos independent of each other. You're quite literally collaborating with each other. Of course his video's gonna be different from yours. This is so much Ephraim yapping. Yeah.
Mine includes interviews with a lot of people that Peaches had done wrong by, including, like, not just Lio, but also, like, me, Hidden, Sin, Cosmic, Crystal.
Kumo? Rosa? Nyx? Jackie? I mean, they probably don't care enough to respond to you, but... Omnia? No? None of those people? Zay? None of those people. Spoctor? You gonna ask Spoctor for an interview with him? About how Peaches did him wrong? No? No, you're just gonna ask the people that are already on your side and people you already like. Gotcha.
Jibs, Thuman. Like, there are a lot of people in this video. It's not
Bonk, we're not gonna talk about that in the stream chat, okay?
not just a situation where it's trying to absolve Lio of everything, it's saying that Peaches and Lumi have been terrible.
Oh, I'm not saying you're trying to absolve Lio of everything. I'm asking you if your goal is to just go after not go after Lio, but go after Peaches and Lumi. Yeah.
So, expose them, yeah, but like, I even, in my own script, because there are things that I said that were unbecoming of Lio at different points behind his back that were genuinely wrong, and based off of faulty evidence that Peaches gave me. And I even say in the video, I'm like, I still said that. Like,
So you're going to be talking about your general experiences to Peaches and Lumi?
Yes.
Okay, so would it be more fair to just like make your guys' testimony and provide your side of the story?
Thank you.
As to like the already existing narrative, because as you've just said, there are plenty of valid reasons to criticize Lio, and I think no matter whether you like the criticism or not in particular cases, yes, I'm talking to you, Hidden. That like it's probably more important to criticize Lio rather than like trying to steer the bandwagon to like specifically Peaches and act like Lio is in the clear. Because
that's the thing.
Getting from this is that you're saying like you've seen enough to say Lio's in the clear, yet we're asking you about all these sorts of things, and you're like, well, I haven't asked Lio about this. Well, I don't know about this in particular.
Exactly.
Well, like I wasn't around for that.
Like he definitively does not know that Lio is in the clear because there are so many things he did outside of Peach's influence that are still wildly wrong. Most of the worst shit he did was like without Peaches being around.
I didn't watch that, and it's just way too convenient. It seems like all of it's trying to like all of it's being aimed at Peaches in sort of whether it's intentional or not.
So this person talks like he's cursed to be as vague as possible.
Outcome where Lio is sort of like vindicated or at least spared from like the backlash he's been getting.
It's also like a repeated pattern of behavior because throughout the entire situation, Lio and Peaches initially have been constantly trying to steer the conversation to other people, right? So in the Conundrum video, brought up Fuchsia Butter, tried to say that no one looked into Fuchsia Butter, despite the fact that he knew about Fuchsia because I told him about it. Or
saying that somebody needs to talk about this and nobody's talking
or
about
Toasty
this.
Trying to steer the conversation just to Toasty. Yeah. Or bringing up the fact that Ren's behind the FCK account, despite the fact that has no relevancy whatsoever. And then also
that is a very good question. That was a brilliant that would have been a great question to press Zach on, because if he's Leo's twink secretary, he should know about a lot of this stuff, right? That's a good question. If they all were in agreement that the FCK leaks were bad, not the leaks themselves, but the stuff that was coming out of the FCK is bad and was abhorrent and absolutely needed to be called out, why was their first response going after the person leaking that stuff? Again, that should have been another red flag for you, Zach. That should have been another red flag that was their immediate response, was to IP trace and expose the person behind that and immediately start shit-talking them and say that they have malicious intentions. That should have been your first clue.
Also, immediately after he did that same day, you had Heaton, Boonslayer, and I think it was Ephra. 3 people who were in Senate running to Twitter to release Twitter threads talking about how it's Ren behind the FCK Leaks account, and then all simultaneously they delete their tweets at the exact same time. That's just a little
That
odd.
I would actually not know about. But when it
Yes,
comes
you
to
would. Yes, you would. You were part of those things, Zach. You would know about them. You were in at least one of those calls. The reason why I say at least one is because I don't know for sure if Zach was in the February 29th call, but I know for sure that he was in the February 28th call. You should know these things, Zach. If you're the one who's passing information back and forth from Lio about things, then you should fucking know these things. You're a really piss poor secretary.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, you're saying that me taking Lio's side and like hearing out what he is saying and believing him, but then also not having context of certain things is questionable?
Yes.
No, we're saying that
I'm saying no. I'm saying that's extremely questionable. That because there's all of these things, and it kind of ties into my question earlier about like, well, if he was just under the influence of Peaches and so were you guys, then like, why double down about the things that Peaches influenced you to say, rather than just like,
Nancy, come
being
here.
mature, walking it back, and like, like tying off those loose ends where they exist. Instead, trying to run off with this sort of like sort of like have your cake and eat it adventure, where you guys get to not own up to like the shit that you were
Leo should
allegedly
fire
influenced by
Zach.
Peaches. I'm not saying you guys specifically, like you two. I'm talking about Lio, Heaton, Doodles, Senate in general. That you guys don't get to acknowledge and apologize or hold yourself accountable for the things that Peaches falsely asserted about people. But you get to go after people.
Yeah, regardless if someone lies to you about someone, you are still responsible for just believing those lies and perpetuating them and running with them. You can trust that someone is telling you the truth, but if you want to go around spreading that rumor to other people, you have to verify it. And if you don't do that, then you are responsible for perpetuating the lie, regardless of whether or not the person initially bringing that to you lied about it or not. You're still responsible.
You get to continue using her false rhetoric.
I don't think Zach has seen any of those, and I don't think he wants to, because he wants to cling to this idea that his friend is a good person when he's not.
To like discredit and demonize people that are critical of you, and you get to sort of, I don't know, tell people that you're victim.
I mean, we already know that people who are 18 and 19, like under the age of 25, are still like developmentally underdeveloped to some extent. They're not children, though. That's the thing. He's old enough to know better, in my opinion. He's old enough to think for himself.
Victims of Peaches, and by extension of that, you're
Yeah, I mean, Mally says it too, like, trust but verify.
then going to be like making yourselves victimizing yourselves. Despite like all this shit that's going on, how
fucking convenient that everybody in this fucking drama is a fucking victim all of a sudden.
Well, you can be a victim of something and have done wrong. That completely goes against the rhetoric that's even being used here.
Well, the best way to put it is, it looks like you're trying to dig Lio out of the hole that he's dug himself by digging a different hole, focusing on Peaches.
Okay, I could definitely see where that could be drawn. Like that's not.
I can see how you guys could misunderstand that. But here's what you're wrong.
The goal, because in my video, and I'm pretty sure in Lio's video too, but I haven't seen the script on that. I'm pretty sure he like is going to be talking about things where he has fucked up in the past. Like,
yeah,
and
like
why has he in more
like
recent
what?
memory doubled down then? Because he's actually
if he
him and Monstrous
versions
in
of you. There's nothing I can really do to change that. That's a question you would have to bring to him directly.
But he
I
won't.
can't
He
bring
won't.
that to
Yeah,
him
he won't.
directly.
He refuses to speak with Kumo or me.
Then I genuinely don't know what to tell you about that, and I do.
Well,
not know
I
how
know
to
what you
answer that
genuinely. I
question.
genuinely know what you can tell me about that. Is like, we're presenting you with all this bullshit, and we understand that you can't get inside of his head. And you don't need to get in Lio's head to understand whether like he's contradicting himself or inherently acting in bad faith. You don't have to understand his motives or his explanation to understand that someone can blatantly display like bad intentions. Like if all of this is untrue, right? I've already put my side out there. I've already like explained why Peaches is a fucking liar. And if all this is true, that Peaches is a liar, that Peaches has also lied about you guys, and Peaches is also like, you guys are coming out about Peaches and saying she's manipulated all of you, then again, I can't stress it enough. Then why run with the fucking rhetoric that Peaches even initiated? Because I've already disproven it. Why double down about it? And if you can't give me your thoughts on that, then at least give me an explanation as to why you choose to support Lio now knowing this.
Yeah, and I think Kumo, as the victim of Peach's actions in that case, I think he's owed an explanation to that. And I was abused is not an answer.
Now knowing this, because of the fact that like I've seen a lot. I haven't seen everything. Seen a good amount.
And Liz, it's going to be your longest stream? Oh, not by a long shot. We're only 7 hours in, I believe, accumulatively.
And it's not that he has to, it's not that he's completely in the right, nor that he's completely in the wrong. But also,
No
this is
one's
somebody
saying
who is
that. No one's saying that, Zach. You made that up.
close to me, who's helped me through a lot, and I've done the same for him. And like, obviously, knowing what I know now, it
Actually,
has-
hold on. I need to back up because I need to let this play out in full.
You choose to support Lio now knowing this.
now knowing this,
So Kumo's asking, why do you choose to support Leo now knowing that he's lied about stuff, intentionally lied about things, has treated people poorly, has things that he can absolutely be criticized for, even though you won't like specifically mention which ones that he needs to be criticized for, and things that he still continues to lie about to this day. And people that he's hurt that he's doubling down on hurting, why are you going to bat for him? And Zach is about to give you his brilliant answer.
because of the fact that like I've seen a lot. I haven't seen everything. Seen a good amount.
You haven't seen a lot. You haven't even seen half of things. You've seen maybe like 20% of everything.
And it's not that he has to, it's not that
I'll slow this down actually.
he's completely in the right, nor that he's completely in the wrong. But also, this is somebody who is close to me, who's helped me through a lot, and I've done the same for him. And like, obviously, knowing what I know now, it changed a lot. And initially, I was going to drop him, but now that I know the other side, I'm not going to.
So, because Lio is nice to you, that means it's fine to be his friend then? It's fine to support him? It's fine to... Because he's nice to you? Because he's done good things for you? That makes things that he did to other people okay? We'll have to go anyway, and I have to go again. Why'd you fucking show up, Vlad? Go away!
And the main point
Do you
that you
think?
seem to be
Wait. Do
bringing
you think?
up,
Do you think the Peaches thing is the end all be all as to whether?
Basically, I'm staying by his side because he's my friend and he's nice to me. I'm defending him because he was nice to me.
Like, as to whether Lio's like in the clear or not, or like
Because he's still
Yeah.
lying about the Jax call, and that has nothing to do with Peaches, unless you're telling me Peaches like told him to lie about the Jax shit still.
that I
Zach,
would not know.
That I would not know
Zach,
about.
okay,
Yes, we know.
And this is I have to.
You
I
don't
have
know
to
about
bring this up,
anything.
and I'm not that I'm like trying to make myself sound so important, but like you said, Peaches talked about the self harm thing or whatever, right?
Yes,
Well, Lio talks about the self harm thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, no, don't. What do you mean you believe so? There's no qualifying statement there. He absolutely, objectively has. He's mocked Kumo for the self-harm thing multiple times in the last couple of months, and has openly mocked him for being homeless for a small period of time. He said that idiot's homeless now. What do you mean, to my memory, or to my knowledge, or... Like, you were there for this stuff. Shitty secretary.
All right. Do you know anything about the self harm thing outside of what they've told you?
I mean, the main thing that I know is that there was a girl who, like, was under threat of self-harm, and then you said to carve your name into her leg, and then
Again, just more proof that he hasn't done his research and does not know what he's talking about. He only gets his information from them. That's why you know nothing, Zach.
she did so, and then you
Are
made
those my
it the
words?
banner of your Discord.
Are those my words, or are you just like paraphrasing with no regard for the accuracy?
Okay, so what is the accuracy then?
I'm asking you if those are my words.
I'm asking you what is the actual story out of your mouth, because
I've already given my side a million ways to Sunday, and now I'm asking you what you know. And you're giving me a paraphrase that, yes, I'm asking you. It's not necessarily that it's rhetorical, but I'm asking you because it's inaccurate.
so what is the accurate story then?
So you don't have that context.
So you can't give me it unless I admit I'm wrong.
No, he's expanding on the point that you don't know shit unless it's something that they told you. And by they, I mean Leo and Peaches. Zach, that's what I said earlier. Yeah, he would make a great politician. I thought I heard Kumo say the homeless thing was a misunderstanding. It was very, very brief. Like, Like, it did happen, but it was very quickly resolved, I'll say. That's his story to tell.
No, I'm not sitting here trying to trap you. I'm trying to get you to admit that you haven't even listened to my side that's already publicly out there that I've reiterated like time and time again tirelessly, because yet again, someone who's close to Lio or Peaches decides to blindly like regurgitate the awful shit that they'll say about me just because they like Lio or Peaches.
That's a
So I'm
testimony-
trying to get.
that is
I'm,
But to finish my point, he was expanding on the fact that you don't know what you're talking about.
what I'm
exactly
trying
I
to
heard
Actually, I did say that. Never mind.
get out
like
of you.
a dozen other people, though, not just Lio or Peaches.
Are those
That's
dozen
the
other
thing.
people adjacent to Lio and Peaches?
Not all of them, no.
Not all of them. Who wasn't?
It was various Senate members, but not
Oh my-
any that were close to.
Okay, yes. People that are fans of Peaches and Leo don't count when you're trying to get various sources and opinions on the matter. Fans and Discord members don't count. He's talking about independent sources.
To Lio or Peaches directly.
I just asked you who wasn't.
Who wasn't like
Yeah,
directly
who
close
wasn't
to them?
adjacent? Who wasn't? I'm not saying Lio Peaches adjacent as in they had to be close friends. I mean, were they in the Senate?
They
Right.
were in the Senate, yes.
All of them were.
Yes.
All of them were. Okay, so that's what I mean
All of them. At least he's honest.
by Lio and Peaches adjacent.
Okay. I thought you meant like people who were closer to them as friends.
No, you don't have to be close to them as friends to like to have a bias and immediately want to like take their word as gospel. That's kind of what the entire like problem with the Senate is.
Okay, so then what is the actual story with that?
I've already put it out there publicly, and so I want you to acknowledge that you haven't once tried to listen to my side of the story.
Can you like send me a link to where you did say it? So
I can send you a
check on
billion
this?
fucking links. And
Yeah,
I can send you
actually,
a billion fucking links
actually, it's
right
been addressed on the stream that I was on, so it's out
Okay.
there. That is the
Zach hasn't even watched that. Zach hasn't even watched something that his friend Hidden was on. You'd think that he would want to go and watch that because at least, you know, someone he likes was on it. Don't even watch that?
most recent example that I could think of.
That wasn't like an in-depth explanation. I gave you a TLDR on that stream, so that's another example of tirelessly fucking like explained my side and given the context. And I mean, there's a clip. The clip blatantly contradicts your paraphrasing of it. The very clip
Okay.
that
Now, Kumo, if you're still in here, you guys know about the Hidden stuff more than I do because I don't care. But are there any examples of Hidden in the Supreme Court correcting people if they give misinformation about you and your situation? Because if Hidden knows the clarification about the situation, is she correcting people when people talk about you in the Supreme Court? Do you know? Have you seen any examples of them correcting you or correcting them about your situation?
the people that you
Because Hidden is basically here confirming that she's heard and listened to your side of things and now knows the truth.
probably heard it from were reciting.
But now
So Goblin says no, and I know that Goblin's been in the Supreme Court.
that I know where to find it, like I can go look at that in my time.
Yeah, hold on. Let me do you one better. I'll send you the initial context video that I uploaded.
I was the only
that
one
I put in
having
the
to
description
correct
of my Peaches
people.
Video, where I then also went on to
Interesting.
explain a number of things, including why like Lio and Ephraim and Peaches fucking rhetoric was a bunch of shit. My video on Peaches also explains how Peaches and Lio were misrepresenting it. In my Lio video, I go on to like. Actually, the self-harm thing isn't even the worst of it. Why is it okay for Lio to say I'm like friends with Zoophiles just because I was like getting information from them and asking like, why is that okay?
That I don't like directly remember him doing.
God, hearing you say it out loud made me realize how fucking dumb the Supreme Court sounds. I mean, it's all dumb. I even thought the Senate was fucking dumb.
I know he said you were affiliated with them, which I would
The only reason I still refer to it as the Senate is because I just got used to it.
definitely say is a stretch if you're just getting info out of them.
I bullied them for that info even. Or I'll DM you the link. I'll do
Okay.
one better. Let me grab that. I would also recommend watching Gilded Pooh's video because it's not my telling of it, but it's at least another interpretation and showing you like the context rather than taking that clip and putting it under a microscope and being extreme like as bad faith as humanly possible. And I'm sure Hidden can also send you the live stream that I explained it on too.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah, I could do
can't-
that, no worries about it.
Find Akuma's channel. He's always the hardest one to dig up.
Okay, and then really quick, I am sorry to bother about this, but like, is it possible that other people could start asking more questions because it's like 1 a.m. for me right now, and I do.
Yeah, the only other person right now I think is Bruce who wants to ask you something. So while I'm grabbing these, Bruce, do you want to go ahead and ask your
Alright, so that's where we're gonna stop. Because Bruce's questions are frankly highly irrelevant to the situation. And I don't give a fuck about Hidden. So that's where we're gonna stop. Yeah, it's a lot. Obviously. I like that while I'm streaming, that's when the gossip channel becomes the most active. You guys have a great sense of timing. Yay, finally. Senate is blood sports disguised as art CC. Yeah, it's like blood sports but disguised under like this false sense of moral superiority. I genuinely can't fathom why anyone would live their life wearing blinders. I mean, it's easy to understand, especially if you're just a casual I can understand it if you're just a casual viewer of somebody. Like let's say like I'll take myself for example. Like if I was still just a casual viewer and I wasn't making my own content and stuff like that, and like I wasn't throwing my opinion out there willy-nilly, like just based on nothing. Like when I was just a casual fan of Ponder Sprocket and just watching her content passively, I would often see the occasional video pop up that was like a criticism of her, or like maybe a post somewhere that was negative about her, and I would just ignore it. I wouldn't be like, oh, I wonder what they're saying about my favorite person. I wonder if it's true. Because, like, sometimes you don't want to have to be, like, challenged on that stuff. If you can, you want to just wear the blinders as long as possible. There are people I still subscribe to and follow to this day that might actually just be terrible people behind the scenes and I just don't know about it. But, like, unless it's staring me directly in the face, like, sometimes I do want to put on those blinders and just not think about it because we do want to enjoy the things we enjoy. And it goes against human nature to be like challenged in that regard, like on a daily basis. Like we want to have our comfort zones, right? Or an active listener who actually goes out and shares content and comments on things and parrots the stuff that you hear. Then you need to do your like the responsible thing and like whatever. What's going on? Hold on. Sorry, I know I missed a couple of things while I actually got kind of ghosted by some friends because I didn't join Supreme Court because when all this stuff was coming out, my husband stepped in and was like, no, enough of this. These people are going to get you dragged. Your husband is right. This is crabs in a bucket mentality. It really is. I straight up admit I did watch a bit of Leo, mainly because of the Smash Bandicoot thing. Once I branched out. Beyond that, though, the rot became obvious. Based husband. W husband. Yeah. Everybody give a clap, give a round of applause for her based husband. Or their based husband. Sorry. Try not to be transphobic. Or homophobic, I guess. Well, that's gender normative, isn't it? What's with the question marks, Kumo? Sorry, was AFK for a minute. I don't know. We're at the end. We're just being a little goofy, a little silly. Cheer day is fine. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, we reached the end. We got up to the Bruce part, and that's where I'm cutting it off. Because Bruce just kind of asks questions about stuff pertaining to Lumi and just says, like, how are you okay with this? Without even asking if Zach was even aware of it. It's just, it's weird. I will never understand the blinder's thing. Complacency is death. Yeah. I get that. But also, what if I just, like, wanna die? You know? What if I just don't care? Wanna eat my nachos and be left alone. I understand both sides. Weird I got a blank notification 8 hours ago. My brain can't even process because of Zach's yapping. That's true. I mean, that's all she wrote. That's all I got for you. Vlad, you gotta go back and watch me play Dragon Age. We had a good time. We had a decent time. And unless there's anything... Oh, actually, you know what? There was one thing that somebody wanted me... that I think Clef wanted me to react to, right? Yeah, Clef wanted me to react to this. I've already seen this, but if you haven't seen it, I will share it with you. And I think this is a great way to end off the stream.
Sonic the Hedgehog, one of the greatest and most attractive characters ever thought up. He can run at sound speed, take out enemies in a flash, and best of all, he's blue-colored and knows how to handle the females. Speaking of females, the Sonic universe might also be classified as hot chick heaven because there's such a mess of very beautiful and tough women that it'll make you love the franchise even more. And since Valentine's Day is around the corner, I've been inspired to make a top 10 list of the most beautiful female Sonic characters.
Everyone's like,
grab yourself a snack and a glass of orange juice and
so
try not to reach through the
juice.
screen because here we go! Number 10. Try this question on for size. Who chases and hugs Sonic all the time and wields a powerful hammer?
Why, it's Amy Rose, of course.
Though more of a cutie than a hottie, you can't deny the fact that she's still attractive. Two things that make her attractive are the fact that she wears a dress, and when have you ever seen 3 big, very smooth arcs of hair sticking out of a person's forehead? I haven't.
What is this?
So, once again, Amy Rose is lovely. That is until she goes berserk and starts hitting stuff with her hammer.
Does it have the original date of this? Original date? Oh, they don't have the original date? Fuck off. It was from somebody called Guptil89, like back in the day. And then what is this?
It's this alien plant girl from a distant planet, Cosmo from Sonic X. She arrived on the character's planet to deliver a message saying that the galaxy was under attack by a force called the Metarex. She doesn't do much except tell people to stop fighting and focus on the real matter at hand. The real reason she lands at the number 9
Listen, I think that she's an underrated character, let's be honest.
spot is that she becomes Miles Tails Prower's sweetheart.
Oh, okay, can I just say that Cosmo is a child? Guys, Cosmo is a child. Cosmo's like 8. Cosmo's 8. Why are they on the hottest Sonic females list? I just fucking realized.
Something Tails needed for a long while. Numero 8. Cream the Rabbit.
That's Spanish, by the way, in case you guys didn't know.
Its mother, Vanilla. She's attractive and is the size of an average human mother. What you
That makes her hot. That
needed
makes
for
her
a
hot.
long while. Numero 8. Cream
Yes, she's a child.
the Rabbit's mother, Vanilla. She's attractive and is the size of an average human mother. What really surprises me about her is that
She's the size of an average human mother.
the leader of Team Chaotix, Vector the Crocodile, falls in love with her. Kinda silly, don't you think? She's another character that doesn't do much, but in a Season 3 episode of Sonic X, she helps Chris Thorndike get into space to fight the Metarex along with Sonic and friends.
Okay, cool. Thank you for letting us know.
What number's next? 7, of course. Wave the Swallow from Sonic Riders. People always root for the good guys, but sometimes the bad guys steal
It's Ephraim's long-lost brother. We found him. We found him at last.
the show. Her mechanical IQ is equal to Tails. She also happens to be the smartest member of the Babylon Rose. I wonder why she isn't the leader. Like Jet the Hawk and Storm the Albatross, her specialty is riding the airboards called Extreme Gear. With 2 very long and smooth feathers extending from her head to her calves and droopy eyes, Wave will rock your socks. If only we could see her take wing. Numéro 6.
That's French, by the way. If only we could see her take wing.
Tikal the Echidna from Sonic Adventure 1. Named after an ancient Mayan city of the same name, Tikal is the daughter of Chief Pakakamak. She's yet another character that hardly does a thing, except beg her father to stop being so greedy. She also traps herself inside.
I like how he constantly has to mention that all these hot females are practically useless.
The Master Emerald so that the water god Chaos doesn't rain terror
But then also, like, explains how they do a lot in the story.
upon the land.
Alright, thanks,
When you're
Fred.
the daughter of a person in the highest power, you need to look your best, and Tikal delivers perfectly.
Oh my
That's why she's
God.
number 6. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5!
Kill me.
Mina Mongoose from the Sonic Archie comics.
Oh, yeah.
How could you go wrong with a girl who looks like this? She could run nearly as fast as Sonic, and she went from being a freedom fighter to being a pop star singer. Next to Princess Sally, she looks more humanoid than the other characters.
Didn't Sonic, like, date every single girl there was in the Sonic that comic series was fucking crazy, let's be honest.
Who could top someone who has long mauve hair? This female standing at number 4, Blaze the
Oh
Cat.
no, here we go.
One
Here
word,
we go.
pyrokinesis. How would you like to have that superpower? I mean,
could-
Blaze could play around in the
Himalayas
Himalayas for hours and she would be
hours.
perfectly fine. Also, her 45-degree ponytail makes her look like a native
45-degree ponytail makes her look like a Native American.
American. I really love the fact that her love interest is the telekinetic hedgehog Silver. The combination of mind-moving and fire superpowers make these two a reliable couple. But what really lands Blaze in the number 4 spot is that her attitude is apparently more different from the other females.
From the other females? He doesn't elaborate on how.
Next up is number 3. What's better than having a female with cascading quills? How about a female with cascading quills and hair? Julie Sue, the Echidna, another Archie comic exclusive.
She was a victim of the erasure that happened. May she rest in peace. The Ken Penders assassination.
Has that
What do we call it? The Ken Penders incident?
feature. She's smart, knows exactly what to do as a freedom fighter, and even trained Amy once. She's also the girl of Knuckles' dreams. Lucky
Well, used to be. And then she got erased from existence.
him. Her older self in the series, Mobius, X years later, is just downright hot. Just look
Starts here, ends here. Downright hot.
at that long ponytail. Now we're talking.
Fucking
Number
kill
1,
me, dude.
2, button my shoe. Princess
Stop.
Sally Acorn. There's a lot to say about this character.
Please don't
She's
say
the
it.
heir to the throne, Sonic's first official romance, the only
That's first.
character that used to not wear clothes,
Ah, fuck, I knew he was gonna mention that. She's hot because she's naked. She doesn't wear clothes.
throne, Sonic's first official romance, the only character that used to not wear clothes, brave and athletic, the most humanoid character, and is like a mother to Tails. In the TV show
No.
Sonic Sat AM, one freedom fighter, the cowardly Antoine, constantly tries to woo Sally but doesn't succeed because he's a coward. The princess
Not
is
like
also a
me.
semi-perfect example of
I like how he's recording from his phone. He's like recording from a camera.
an excellent love interest. Although there were a couple of times when she really snapped and acted like a lunatic. In the comics, that is.
The comics were fucking wild.
But overall,
That shit was
Sally Acorn
fucking
really
wild.
stands out amongst the slew of females, not just because she's Sonic's first official love interest, or because she's the only one who didn't wear clothes, but because in the comics, she grew very long hair and married
He has I mean, he clearly has a thing for long hair, obviously.
Sonic in the future, becoming the Queen. So, you've seen a pyrokinetic cat, a swallow, 2 gorgeous echidnas, and even a princess.
It's gonna be Rouge.
Who could possibly top those kinds of females? Well, get ready, folks. This is the number 1 hottest Sonic the Hedgehog
Hottest.
female character.
Yep. Okay.
Rouge the Bat. If anybody denies it, how dare you? This woman can fly, she's as strong as Knuckles, and is a femme fatale seducing other characters into getting what she wants. Instead of having one love interest, she has
Zoom on the
two,
titties.
Knuckles and Shadow the Hedgehog. Being a treasure thief, she's only interested in one object set, jewels, especially the Chaos Emeralds. There actually have been situations where Rouge's cleavage has been exposed,
Oh.
but it eventually got censored.
No.
What a price to pay.
What a price
I think
to
the
pay.
best part about this beauty is that she wears 3 different outfits unlike the other female
Because she wears other outfits, that makes her hot.
characters. And who wouldn't want to fly across the landscape, be as strong as Sean Johnson, and flirt with any male anytime, anywhere? These 3 traits make Rouge the Bat triumph over all of the Sonic the Hedgehog females. My hat goes off to you, Sonic Team USA. You ought to be proud.
Sonic Team USA didn't make
Universe. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Valentine's Day, and I'll see you later.
Oh my god. Oh, what a legend. What a legend. Well, here it is, coming to you live from Hot Chick Heaven, TM, from the meme god himself, Guptil. He'll present what he thinks to be the top 10 hottest Sonic females. The stream died again. It seems fine on... Oh, no, we do have some dropped frames. Well, I'm gonna be ending anyway. Guptil killed the stream? What was that? What was what? The sound bit about Rouge was used in... The sound bit about Rouge was used in the Goobus Doobus video. Oh, yeah, that's right. My 13th reason. Nah, man, this gives me a reason to live. To know that there are people out there who are this confident in themselves. Alright. Now that's gonna be the genuine end of the stream. What a nice palate cleanser for us. And now you know the glory of the top 10 hottest female characters in Sonic the Hedgehog. Now we're talking! Oh my god. It brings me back to the old days of when I used to be a Sonic fan. This is because you made fun of the hottest Sonic character females. That's true. Alright, but I'm head out. I hope you guys had a good time. I know I did. We'll be back tomorrow, and I promised Villa that we'll do story time tomorrow. I'll probably have to start over my story time, so I apologize, but we'll be here for that. So tomorrow's gonna be a lot more relaxed, unless something big happens, but I doubt it. And grab an orange juice and try not to reach through the screen, 'cause here we go!